Hey everybody, what's going on? Friday night, as I say every week, is my favorite show of the week.
Yeah.
They're all fun, but this is the funnest one.
Yeah, we're just going to drink and hang out.
Because I don't have to do any research.
Yeah. Drink, hang out, talk to the regulars.
Talk to the regulars. I've got my purple hair on
Answer
this
questions
evening,
and stuff. Yeah.
which I haven't worn in a while. I totally forgot.
I love when Jenny has her hair parted like that. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I think it looks really good. I think it's. I also like it parted in the middle.
Yeah, because I have a bunch that are parted in the middle.
Yeah, but I like it like that too.
Yeah, it's one of the, this is I kind of like this because my green one that I wore with my mermaid outfit is this same cut. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like it, but it's kind of a pain because it's like just constantly this thing like flopping over here, and it's like I keep going like that because it itches.
Yeah, it makes it cute though.
You know what I mean? I know, but I'm just saying that it's just kind of like like all night it's like itching. I don't know. If we go out tomorrow, I'll probably wear a wig, but I might wear a shorter one, just because wearing longer ones and then I get all sweaty and it's just, you know what I mean. But my actual hair, I'm kind of trying to grow it out, like the undercut. I'm trying to, just for variety, you know, I grow it out like every few years, but it's gonna be a while before it grows out, and I'm gonna have to like cut this part short. I might grow my bangs out too, so it's just like all one length, but that's gonna take like a really long time to do. So I'm probably gonna be wearing a lot of wigs.
I think it takes a couple years.
Maybe I should buy some more.
Yeah.
Particularly some more short ones. I like the long ones, but I like the short ones more for going out because, like I said, they don't stick to my back when I'm dancing and shit like that. That's kind of a consideration. He says, how's the mermaid life? It's pretty good, you know. Under the sea. Better where it's wetter, yada yada.
Yeah, if you're going to grow the bangs out, we can just keep it short, almost kind of like a bob, and let the bangs grow out. Yeah. And you wear wigs mostly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was planning on doing.
Yeah, because then the two will meet a lot sooner if your hair's shorter.
Or I could get some hats.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what well, that's the thing though. It's like it's Florida though. It's like too hot to wear wigs like outside for sure. But really, you could probably only wear them a couple months a year or whatever.
There's all kinds of cute club stuff you could get.
Yeah,
hat wear, head wear type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon says, Jenny, I like your hair. Well, thank you very much. And Tammy said, love the wig. And CB said I was looking sexy tonight. You always say that, CB. I look sexy all the time.
Yep. I
mean, that's not true. That's not true. But it's, you know, I like to think that about myself now.
Jen's getting in real good shape. Yeah.
Jeff Yard said, I missed the lower temp from last week. Wasn't that nice? I didn't actually go outside today. Oh my God, I didn't go outside today, did I?
No.
Isn't it funny? Because it's like sometimes
I'll be fucking day.
Well, because, I work at home, so it's like sometimes it doesn't even occur to me. You know, I get up. I got up at like 7? Yeah. 7:30, something like that. And it's just I come in, I feed the cats. You know, I scoop the cat box, I make some coffee. And then, like, I check all my emails. What do I got to do today? I make my list and all this other kind of crap.
And I dozed off twice.
I know you did.
Yeah.
You ended up sleeping until like 11. It was like 11.
Yeah. And then I went back in there around 3 or 4 and fell asleep for about an hour or 2, and then walked back up. I like being an old man. Getting old man.
I like being an old man.
Yeah, just fucking.
I wish I could be an old man. I know I don't want to be an old. I don't want to be an old man.
Yeah.
But I would like to be a retired old person. Yeah. But I don't think I'm ever gonna be.
You'll never retire.
I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to retire, unfortunately.
No. Yeah, but you enjoy your work. You don't have to go anywhere you can do it from home.
I mean, it is a lot better. And it might not always be like that. Like, you know what I mean? I might not always be able to do that, but I'm glad that I can do it right now. Because, man, not having to go anywhere, that's pretty prime right there. Yep. But, yeah, so the hilarious thing is
Zach's here. What's up, Zach?
What's up, Zach?
I thought you got lost at the bathhouse.
Yeah, Senor Stick says Pookie is in need of petting. She always is. But you know what? It's actually Bambi that is more needy. Like, if it's between 7 and 7:30, if I have not got out of bed yet, which I usually have, but sometimes I'm just like, man, I just don't want to get up or something like that, Bambi will come over to my side of the bed and sit there and go, meow.
Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah, wake her up in the morning.
Meow. Yeah. Until I get up.
Yeah, Bambi's a mama's girl. She's proud of her mama. I mean, she will sit right outside the door of this office and keep all the other cats out. Make sure that no other cat gets close to her person.
Yeah.
She's funny, man.
She's like my little shadow.
Yeah, wherever Jen goes, that fucking cat's running after.
Because like Tom laughs because every time like if I walk down the hall and into the bedroom to tell him something, there's Bambi just like boop, 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 like right next to me. Just like or running in front of my feet like, hey, where are we going? Where are we going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She tries to get me to chase her. Yeah, she likes to play. She's young, you know. She's real young.
Yeah, she's only well when we got her last, not this past August, but the August previous, 2023, and they told us then that she was 18 months old.
Yeah, okay.
So she's 2.5 years
Yeah.
old. They also told us that she'd already had a litter.
Yeah. Yeah, she had nipples.
Yeah.
You grab the bottom of her, and she had like freaking hard nipples and shit. What the fuck is this?
She still does.
Yeah, she still does.
She still does. Because honestly, she loves belly pets, which she's the only cat that I've known. Because most cats are just kind of like, you can kind of pet the belly and they're like, okay, that's enough. But she will just like lay there all splayed out. Yep. Yeah, man. And she'll just do it.
Zach's paying us already. That's good, Zach. Thank you very much.
Zach.
We love money. We like money.
I like money.
We like money. Yeah.
You like money? Nah, you don't want to be an old man, Jen. Your sack gets so saggy and stretched out it falls in the toilet water and you sit in it and sit on it all the time.
That can happen. You get on test though and it won't do that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. It's like I don't think I've ever heard Tom say that he sat on his balls. Have you ever sat on your balls?
No. Well, fucking them bitches were getting fucking big and shit. When I was getting in my 40s, late 40s.
Oh, I love it.
But going on test, man, fucking that shit just fucking comes right back up. You got the fucking nuts of a fucking 16-year-old.
Yeah, they really went right back up into the...
Yeah, they become all photogenic and shit.
They're all photogenic. Now everybody's like, all right, send us a photo then. I'll send us some
I'll send a photo. Got videos.
He has no shame. If you legit want to see a picture of Tom's balls, he will absolutely send you a picture of it, so don't even ask.
Don't even fucking ask. I'll live stream that shit.
Senior 6 says Tom's balls are military balls.
They're like military balls.
Yeah, they are like up to attention.
Yeah, everything's all shaved and shit. I'm porn ready. I'm like fucking commando.
He's porn ready.
Yeah, porn ready.
I thought even before you went on test, they weren't like you didn't have big saggy balls or anything.
They were getting there.
I mean, I didn't really notice them being like
they were getting
weirdly saggy or anything.
Just kind of happens. But there's something about fucking going on testosterone at all. Everything just kind of fucking... everything fucking kind of gets better.
I love when the show gets so like TMI, especially this early.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hormone therapy is a reality, man. It works.
Yeah.
I was fucking... I got off into some Billy Idol. And I listened to the old Cyberpunk album, which I liked it when it came out. A lot of people hated that album. Like, he lost a lot of fans. He almost lost his career over the Cyberpunk album. I go back and listen to that shit. It's a fucking masterpiece. And he foresaw a lot of stuff. You know, he didn't make it up. He was reading books and fucking talking to other people, you know, about what the internet was going to do. And he had foresaw all kinds of stuff, that people would live longer and be younger through fucking science and fucking medicine and shit. And, you know, yeah, that happened, man. Fucking hormone therapy and HGH and shit. Guys can live a long time if you do it, though. A lot of people aren't doing it, you know, because they made it kind of artificially expensive to do it. But if we change shit, we can change all kinds of laws. That shit should be over the counter. And if it becomes over the counter and there's competition involved, it'll go down. It'll be just like it was in other countries. Other countries, you could buy that shit over the counter.
You can, yeah. It's not a big deal. Mm-mm. Zach says, yeah, Tom sent me Jen's boobs for no reason once.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like when you accidentally see your mom naked.
Yeah, I was trying to turn you straight.
Well, wasn't it? I thought that you did. You didn't tell me until afterward, as usual. But I thought it was. Wasn't it the nipple piercing?
Yeah. Around that time.
I think you were showing.
It's around that time. Nipple piercing.
The nipple piercing.
Yeah.
Which yeah. No, I was gonna say like a long time ago, when I was going off on the whole coffee thing. I said, and you sleep until 11 o'clock. I said we have this funny thing where. The fancy coffee maker that Tom got me for my birthday.
Coffee Ninja.
The Coffee Ninja.
Hell yeah.
I'll
get a Coffee Ninja.
I get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what time he's going to get up. Sometimes he gets up early, sometimes not. So it's like, well, look, I'm not waiting for him to get up to make a pot of coffee. So I'll usually just make one cup for myself, like at 7:30 or whatever. And then I'll fill it up for later. And I said just whenever he gets up. But I always know I don't have to go down the hall because These lights here, I don't know if you can see the two lights like up on the curtains, and then there's another one right here.
Yeah.
For some reason, they are on the same circuit.
They're on the same wavelength. They're on the same frequency
as the ones in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So when he gets up
and turns the lights on,
they come on in here too.
So she knows to start.
And so I know that he's up, and then he's gonna get in the shower, and by the time he gets out of the shower, then the coffee pot will be done.
And it's it's a little bitty remote.
We call it the Tom alarm.
Yeah, it's a little bitty cheap remote. I don't understand how it can communicate with these lights so far away. They must be daisy chained in where one emits and broadcasts to another. Because I've tried to do it like only turn on one, and you can't. I can't do it. I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can turn on two. You know, and keep the other five from turning on, but it just depends.
It's super weird.
It's weird.
We didn't realize it until he bought new ones, and then we put some in here and we put some in there, and they have they're separate sets, so they came with separate remotes.
Yeah.
But like whenever you turn the ones on in the room, the ones in here come on.
Yeah, and they didn't used to.
Yeah, it's like I can't figure it out.
The more lights you have in here, I think the more interconnected they become.
Maybe so. But so it's like, in a way, it's like kind of good because, like I said, now I know, I got to go start the coffee pot.
But what sucks is that, I'm using them for kind of like mood lighting and special effects. I want them to be different colors.
Yeah.
So if I say, no, I want that one to be green, they'll all turn green.
They'll all turn green, yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah, you can't, like, have them different colors.
Yeah.
So they're all, like, magenta.
Yeah, they're all magenta, right.
Because that was kind of, like, the color we decided looked the nicest, like, on camera. So now the ones in the bedroom are magenta, too. I mean, that's okay. But... because we have the magenta lights in there. We have on the bed that we bought I guess we bought it last year. The headboard has lights in it. Like it has, phone chargers and shit like that in there too. But it has like a light up thing, and you can also like light up the whole. It's like a bar like in the back that lights up, which is blue actually, but we don't usually have it on because it keeps me awake.
We're drinking rum and root beer. Which is good.
Rum and root beer.
Rum and root beer,
yeah. Oh, Phantom says, this is funny. Now I'm going to have to go back and watch this. If you want to see Tom's ball bag, just watch the Drag Me to Hell movie review. He's got an upshort shot in that video, like Jack Tripper and Three's Company upshort shot.
I don't remember that.
Ooh, I don't remember that either. Now I'm going to have to go watch.
Yeah. Which video is that?
Drag Me to Hell, that Sam Raimi movie.
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Who's that? Notice that?
Phantom.
He's gay. He's gay.
Well,
he remembers.
Well, how obvious is it? I don't know. I don't remember that happening.
It can't be that obvious.
So,
I don't care, man. You just got a free shot.
Like I said, first one's free, then you gotta pay. No, I'm just kidding. CB said I was gonna get my dick pierced, but my friend had it done first, and my dick hid when I saw it being done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good idea until
you see that shit.
Well, like I said, that's why. Well, after Tom did the nipple piercing on me, I was like, "Well, now it's your turn." He's like, "No fucking way!"
No, not after seeing how that was done.
And I was like, "Oh, I see. It's okay for me to have it done, but you won't do it."
Hell no. No. Fuck no.
I'm gonna say I have a high pain threshold, and that was really painful.
I didn't know it was going to be that difficult to do. I didn't know that nipple material was that tough.
Well, yeah, it's got to be. It's got like babies gnawing.
Yeah, it was like going through fucking gristle. It was snapping and popping. It wasn't like because I stick needles through me all the time. Injecting stuff.
Yeah, we inject stuff all the time.
So it's not really a big deal. You know what I mean? But fucking through that material, it is with a big. Larger gauge needle, shit, man, that was fucking gross. And I had to get it done because I started it. And once I got one in, I had to do the other one. She took a big break in between the two.
Yeah, I was like, I need to chill out for a second.
Yeah,
because I almost blacked out.
You'll see girls in porn every now and then that only have one pierced. That's because they couldn't do the other one.
Well, when I saw that, I was like, I feel you, girl.
Yeah.
I thought about it too, but it's like, look, I like shit to be symmetrical.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought about it because I was like, man, that sucked so hard. And I kind of thought about, well, maybe I'll just have one. And I was like, no, I can't take it.
Yeah. I researched how to do it. I had all the right equipment and stuff. But you got to stick a needle through there first and then take the bar that you're going to put in, push that through there to push the needle out, and then fucking put the ball on the other end of it. Which, when you see videos of people doing it, you're like, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. I can do that. Actually doing it is a lot different because
watching someone do something and actually doing it are two completely different things.
It doesn't really express how hard you had to push to get it through that, and it doesn't come across what that feels like to the person pushing it through. You're gonna feel all these popping and cracking and stretching, and it's just like, oh man, I might, damn, I'm killing her. You know what I mean? Fucking.
But it's just kind of feel like that.
Yeah, but that's just the way it's supposed to feel. Because afterwards, I called my buddy, the one that fucking, the guy in porn and shit, because he used to be a piercer. I showed him pictures of it, and I fucking told him what I had. He goes, yeah. He goes, going through that material is fucking rough. He says, it's tougher than you thought. It's just like fucking cross between rubber and bubble gum. I said, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. And,
and when you're watching the videos of people doing it, these are people that are, like, experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that's why they're making a video, to show it. So it's like, if you don't know, and if they don't tell you, hey, kids, if you're going to do this, like, it's really, really tough, so be prepared to, like, fucking...
And there's going to be a bunch of stretching, and you got to keep it on line. But, no, they're in nice and deep and set back, and they're straight and everything. I did a good job on them.
You did, I will say that, even though you had never done it before.
Never done it for you.
He was like, as painful as it was for me, I think he was freaking out more than I was. Because he was like, oh no, I think I'm doing something really bad.
I was under a lot of performance pressure. You know what I mean? I felt like fucking something out of Mission Impossible where I'm fucking disarming a bomb. I don't know if I'm quite doing it right. But I just kind of, and she's going, ugh, I know it's hurting, and I'm going like, well, shit. Oh.
Well, and at first I was sitting up because I was sitting up on the, and I kept telling me, it's like, I'm gonna black out, I'm gonna black out because it's like, you know what I mean? And I started like going like that because I have like real low blood pressure.
Yeah.
And shit, I'll black out if I stand up too quick. But I was like, I'm gonna faint, please.
Weeks
stop.
later, after they all fucking healed up, I took one out and put another one back in. And that almost caused her to fucking faint.
No, I did faint.
She did faint, yeah. She was walking, boom. She hit the ground. I was like, whoa.
And I didn't know what happened.
And she's like, what happened? She says, you fainted. And all I did was just changed it out.
Yeah.
And it was just the psychological
remembering
of what it was like.
Because it didn't really hurt her. It did kind of like, it pinched a little bit, but not like that. Like I said, I don't think it's not the worst pain I've ever experienced, but it's up there, like top 3 for sure. Woo. Yeah, it was something. I'm really glad that I'm glad I had it done because I like it. But
they look good.
They look good, but if somebody told me now, it's like, hey, let's pierce this other thing. No thanks. No thanks.
You got 2 of the best ones.
Yeah.
I actually wanted a captured ball, a ring with a captured ball, but you need a special tool to get that to recapture, and it's hard. Yeah. And fucking the ball is very small, and it's got 2 indented spots on it, and you've got to fucking crush it in with that tool to get it to go into those little. It's too difficult. Now I have heard there's some fake captured balls where there's a trap door in it.
Yeah, see
that. You go through the trap door and then fucking cut it, and then you know what I mean. It's not actually being held by the ball.
Yeah. I have lots of different ones, like lots of different colors, like with balls on the end. But I've had these ones in for a while. Like they're just kind of. They're just silver, and they have like a little pearlescent like little ring like on the bottom. They're pretty.
Kind of a little semicircle coming on the bottom.
Yeah. Oracle says, Jenny, did you get the ebook I sent you? Yes, I did. Thank you very much. I'm gonna read that after. Like, I got sent a book by an author that he wanted me to review. I've done some of his books before, and I read about half of it today, and I'm gonna review that, and then I'm gonna review that one next because it looks really good. So thank you very much for sending that because it looks kick-ass. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do some book reviews and some more movie reviews too, just like whenever I have time, you know what I mean? But I did get a lot of that other book read today, which was nice. Phantom says, seems like Heretic isn't getting any hate whatsoever, which is a great sign.
We want to see it.
Yeah, we're going to go see it this weekend.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for it like a long time ago. I'm like, man, that looks pretty good. And then I don't watch reviews of it or read reviews or anything, but it's like in my YouTube feed, I have all my horror channels, and a lot of them have gone to see it, and it looks like it's getting really positive feedback. So I'm just like, well, that's usually a good sign when everybody
as soon as we saw that
is on
trailer,
board.
we were like, that looks good.
Yeah, I was like, that looks really
pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that guy to be in a horror movie. I haven't seen that guy in a long time, but that'd be cool. He'd make it a comeback doing a fucking horror movie. Here, let me get you some ice.
I mean, he might have been in other shit before that, but I mean, there's so many, I said this before, there's so many fucking movies and shows and shit like that it's like, holy crap. Like some of these actors that I haven't seen in a long time, they could have been in some shit this whole entire time, and I just didn't know about it. Because there's just too much. There's too much for me to keep track of. And honestly, like, even just me that is mostly focused on... I watch other shit too, but I almost exclusively watch horror. And even that is, like, too much for me to keep up with. You know what I mean? As far as, like, movies and series and books and shit like that, I can't keep up with all of that. I try to, but there's just no way. I just don't have time. But... Oh, Senior Stick said, did you drink booze first before inserting?
No.
No.
Hell no.
I probably should have.
Nah.
I probably should have, not you. I don't want you doing that
what
shit.
What could happen is that...
well, then it's bleed. Like, it
bleeding
thins your blood. Yeah.
She didn't bleed much.
No, I didn't.
She didn't bleed much.
But like I said, I almost passed out. And then, like I said, I did pass out when he was changing them.
Yeah, a long time after.
That was really weird. Like, a long time after he did it, he was changing them out. Because it's easier for him to do it, because I can't really fucking see what I'm doing. You know, because I'm kind of blind. And it's a bad angle. So he was changing them, and I think he changed one of them, and then I went into the bathroom for something, and then when I was coming out of the bathroom, I just passed out, like I just flopped onto the floor. Yeah. And I didn't know what had happened. Yeah. Like, I woke up, it was just kind of like, that was kind of like when this was before I met you, but when I went and I was at the doctor, you know, just for the yearly checkup or whatever, and they were taking my blood because they used to check me for cholesterol and diabetes and stuff because that runs in my family. So they were taking blood, and I'd had blood taken a bajillion times before, no problem. It doesn't bother me, needles don't bother me, nothing like that. But for whatever reason, this time I'm in the chair, they're taking the blood, and I just keeled forward out of the chair. I wasn't even standing up, I was sitting. And I just keeled forward out of the chair, and everybody in the room, like they told me later, flipped the fuck out because they didn't know what had happened, right? They're like, she just laid there, and they said I had a seizure. You know, I don't know. But, like, the next thing I knew, I woke up, and I was on this, not a gurney thing, but, like, the, you know, that padded shit that they have, like, in the room with where they take the blood, you know? And I'm laying there, they're putting, like, EKG shit, like, all over me and stuff like that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they said, do you have epilepsy? And I was like, not that I know of. They're like, you just fucking blacked right out. And there's like, you were sitting and everything. And I was just kind of like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, that never happened before. I give blood all the time. Because every year I would go, and like I said, they would always take blood to check me for cholesterol and diabetes. Because that runs in my family. So they would always check it. And I never, ever had a problem before. I think it was because they sent me, after that, like, had my regular primary physician come in, and she's like, this is probably nothing, but she's like, I'm going to send you to a cardiologist, just in case. And they couldn't find anything unusual, but then I went to this other doctor, and he said, well, it might have been, because that was right around the time that I'd lost a bunch of weight. And they're like, what probably happened, because I always had low blood pressure, even when I was super overweight. They're like, probably what happened is that you lost all this weight, like, in a relatively short period of time, and your heart is just kind of like, what? Like, it doesn't know what to do, you know what I mean? And so it might be that. They're like, that's pretty much all we can think of, because we can't really find anything other than that. But they did tell me, they're like, you just gotta fucking watch it, you know what I mean? Like, they told me, like, don't stand up too fast, don't go from, like, hot to cold, like, real quick, because that'll trigger it. They're like, anything like that, they're like, you might pass out. So
you can train out of that, though.
Well, not really, because it happens, like, too quick. It's like that. You know what I mean?
The more athletic you become, the fucking better your body gets at regulating blood pressure. It just does. I guarantee you, for all the fucking gym work you've been doing, you're actually kind of building up against that. You probably... I mean, shit, you're on Clan right now.
Although I will say that the only side effect that I've been having, because I had some side effects from that at first, like maybe the first few days or whatever, with like heart palpitations and stuff, which I was expecting because I took albuterol before and it did that. Yeah. But one thing I have noticed with this is that every now, like, it gives me vertigo. Not always, but...
That's ear infection that did that.
Sometimes, well, no, because I didn't really have anything like this. I mean, I always had it, like, if I stood up too fast, like I got real dizzy or something. Yeah. But now it's happening when I'm laying down or when I'm sitting, which never happened before.
Clenbuterol will lower blood pressure.
And mine's low anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's naturally just very, very low.
Yeah.
So
it's better than having really high blood pressure.
Well, that's what I always figured. Like, it's not great because,
you're not running under a lot of stress.
Ooh, Zach gave us some more money.
Thank you, Zach. That's right. You pay it up, man. We like this money. Love you, Zach.
We do.
What do you say?
Says, ever since I was a real little kid, if I sit for too long and stand real fast, the blood goes to my head and I feel like I'll faint, but I haven't yet, though. Oh, I fainted several times. But like I said, you can't really stop it because it happens really quick. Like, I know what the feeling is, but by the time you're like, oh shit, like, you're already flopped on the floor. You know what I mean? It's like, it happens that quickly. It's a weird, your vision, it just goes black, like, shoot, like that, like a camera shutter. And, like, you know it for, like, a quarter of a second, and then you're like, oh shit, and then, you know. So there's not really much you can do to stop it, to be honest. I was always kind of afraid after it first happened in the doctor's office. I was like, well, am I still going to be able to drive? It's like, what the fuck happens if that happens while I'm driving? You know? And that kind of scared me. So, I don't know. I don't drive much anymore, thankfully. But it did kind of worry me, especially when I was commuting, like, to Daytona and stuff like that. I'm like, holy shit, like, what if I fucking black out, like, behind the wheel, you know? It could happen. So, it never did, thankfully.
It's psychological.
It's not, I'm telling you. It's not.
Changing a nipple out won't knock you out. Changing a nipple ring out. You know what I mean? That was psychological right there.
Well, that one was.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general.
I think I think there's has something to do with your mind-body connection. You know what I'm talking about? Your mind didn't really have a very grounded connection with the body. So it's kind of like you're astrally projecting a little bit. That's probably what it's like. But, you know, I have noticed, though, that fucking with your physical training and shit, your physicality has increased. You look better on the dance floor, and you looked good on the dance floor before. But the mind-body connection has to be maintained.
Yeah.
And, you know, fucking lifting weights, exercising, doing skills, you know, doing tasks helps.
Well, I told you, I mean, when I was growing up, I used to be good at that. Like,
you were a gymnast.
I did gymnastics and ballet. I did all that kind of stuff.
That's why I was, you know, me and Jen
work like 10, 11.
Me and Jen work from home. We're in a fucking 2-story house that's on a golf course. We got an acre of land here. Got garden growing out in the back with vegetables and shit. We do pretty much everything for ourselves. Jen works right here from the house. One of the things that I wanted her to do was to go back into dance class or fucking or yoga or fucking something like that. But I really didn't want her to do it from the home. I wanted her to go hang out with girls and go do it. Jen needs to be with women, girls and women, you know.
But like I said, I don't really know if there's anywhere.
Yeah, it's nowhere around here for that
because we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. That's the problem.
Yeah, it'd be hard to find a dance studio. I wouldn't. I was thinking about, why don't you go, fucking go to stripper dance class, fucking learn how to fucking, because pole dancing is fucking physically very hard.
It is. Yeah.
And strippers, fucking a good well-trained stripper, those girls can fucking dance, and that really helps the fucking your moves on the fucking dance floor at the fucking nightclubs, you know, because they have a fucking element of show business with them. I was fucking back when I was thinking about opening a fucking little male stripper fucking business that I wanted to do. So I started to look at some of the classes that they had online just to see the styles that those guys used. I wasn't really much into the type of music that they were dancing to. But I have some stage training, you know, back in theater. And the blocking those guys use and their moves, they're very good. Real good. And I picked up some tips watching some of that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Some of it I kind of did. Some of it I kind of did naturally on my own. Like how to walk, that kind of stuff. Not everything is natural. You know, some of the things that you do are kind of learned behavior. And presentation and how you carry yourself in public fucking impacts how people fucking see you big time. And those male dancers get on there and fucking, they're all fucking show business. I'm talking about the fucking high-end ones, not, not just some rando that shows up for your grandma's fucking 90th birthday, But I saw some of the really good guys.
How hilarious. What a weird kind of family you'd have to hire a male stripper for your grandma's 90th birthday. I have seen it happen. But...
Well, I was looking into that business. They said that's mostly what it is.
Yeah.
It's real old. It's family members.
Because they think it's funny.
They think it's funny, and they fucking hire a fucking male stripper to come dance for the fucking grandma's fucking 90th.
Lap dance,
she's in a fucking wheelchair and shit.
Stick his ass in her face.
And this dude shows up in a cop outfit and starts fucking dancing and shit with a jam box.
And Grandma's just there drooling. She didn't know what's going on.
What the fuck? It's more like a gag,
Well, yeah.
It's more like a gag, and he's there for fucking 20 minutes doing his dance, collects his $100 and leaves.
Right.
And he has a couple of those a night. It's a part-time gig.
You gonna go dance for some 90-year-old ladies, Tom?
Well, remember the idea that I had?
Yeah, we were talking about this for a while.
Yeah, I wanted to hire 3 or 4 dudes.
Right.
And fucking have a company that we could book stuff and do that.
Because it seemed like there was a niche in the market. There wasn't really a lot of that going on,
The thing is, though, is that it's hard to get dudes like that together because the good ones have their own businesses. Or they're already involved in shit like that. So you have to be in that business for a long period of time.
Yeah. It was an idea we were throwing around. But, yeah, Senor Six says, Jenny, you're saying you won't hire a stripper for your 90th birthday? I mean, probably not. It's not really my thing, but
If Jen were to hire a stripper for her 90th birthday, it'd be a woman.
It'd probably, it would be a Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knows. Yeah. It's like, why would I hire some random
Jen likes girls.
Yeah. I don't know you. It's like, get that fucking crotch out of my face. But yeah, so, I do find, I like dudes, but I find women a lot more aesthetically pleasing.
Well, on the average, they are. Most dudes
all.
are fucking look terrible.
So, I can go either way. I'm just not one way or the other. Phantom said, I also just saw another decent 1978 film called The Fifth Floor that has a young Robert Englund in it. I don't think I ever heard of that, actually. It's almost like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but the lead character is a disco queen female. Okay, shit, I'm going to write that down. That sounds like something I need to watch. I don't think I've ever heard of that, actually. The Fifth Floor, 1978. We watched a movie last night. Actually, Tom picked it just at random. Because it was... What was it on? Was it on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, it's Amazon
And it was like one of the top movies. And it's like a zombie movie, which I'm usually kind of like, but this one was actually pretty good. And we didn't know this when we first started watching it, but it's Spanish. It was made in Spain. But the weird thing about Amazon Prime, we couldn't figure out, it was dubbed into English, which I hate dubbing. I was like, can we please just watch this in Spanish? This is like driving me crazy. But they wouldn't let you, or we couldn't find, they had like all the languages for the closed captioning, but they didn't have, you couldn't listen to it in the original language, at least what I could find. Like, you could only watch the dubbed English version, and I was like, okay, whatever. But it actually turned out being, like, actually, what was it called? Apocalypse Z?
Apocalypse Z.
The beginning of the end or something like that.
It was okay.
I kind of feel like, I mean, it just came out this year. I guess it's new. And yeah, it was pretty good. It was kind of like, it wasn't exactly zombies. It was kind of like 28 Days Later, where it was like somebody with like the rage virus, essentially. It was like a virus that made, and it was like super fast acting and made everybody crazy and eat people. So it was kind of like that. But yeah, it was set in Spain. And the thing that I liked best about it, even though this was giving me anxiety the whole way through the movie, was that the main character, it was him and his cat. And this cat was like a main character, because Tom's like, shit, man, the cat's like the star of this movie. And I'm just like, I'm all right with that. And I was like, if something bad happens to this cat, I'm going to be really upset.
Yeah.
Because I know how you do, Spain. I've seen like a lot of Spanish horror movies, and y'all don't fuck around. So I was just the whole time, like, I had a knot in my stomach being like, man, kill all the people you want. Please just leave that kitty alone, because it was a super cute cat. And thankfully, spoiler alert, the cat's okay. But I do kind of feel like this movie, they were going to make a sequel because they left it, the end was a huge cliffhanger. It was a huge cliffhanger.
Well, yeah, it's because they're going to make another one.
So I'm thinking this is like the first in like a trilogy or something.
Well, what's happened is that the world has changed so fucking much. Movie studios are fucking suck. They're having a problem putting out shit. Most of the cable fucking television is fucking dying. Basically, the industry is all shifted towards making content for these streaming platforms. So, I think what they did with that particular Spanish production is that they're going to be full-length movies, but they're going to be a long series of them, kind of like The Walking Dead. Instead of a fucking weekly series, maybe like every 6 months there's a new one.
Yeah, this movie kind of reminded me
work,
a little bit. Like old, it reminded me of old Walking Dead a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like old Walking Dead. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I like the cat. The cat was my favorite.
The only thing I didn't like about it is that it was dubbed into English, and there was no way on our Amazon, our service here in the U.S., to get in original language, Spanish, with English subtitles. They didn't have that option.
Because, man, I can't stand
I don't like dubbed. But the dubbing wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad.
But it still is very distracting.
Yeah.
It's some of the better dubbing that I've seen. But, man, I'm just saying, like, if you show it, there's foreign movies, and I'm all for that, but it's just, like, always please have it in the original language. I can't stand, like, English dubbing. It drives me bananas.
We watched the new Mexican Zorro series, which is really good. The first
I like
season.
that a lot.
And dubbed, it's... We're like, man, this looks terrible. We put it into Spanish, and all of a sudden that bitch was legit.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, yeah.
Like I said, I can't. It's too distracting. It's like that's not their real voices.
Right.
It always sounds.
I think that was on Amazon. I mean, that was on Amazon Prime, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah, go on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I liked that a lot.
Go watch the new Zorro series from Mexico this year.
Yeah, it's from 2024.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very much like Daredevil.
It kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Kind of like Daredevil and Batman. And it's taking place in Spanish California, before the Republic of California was in the Union. And Zorro's he's fighting government corruption, you know. He's fighting the Mexican government's trying to take over California, and the Union's trying to take over California. But and he does differentiate. Just because you're part of the Mexican government doesn't mean you're a bad guy. Because there were bad guys and good guys in the Mexican government. Fucking Zorro's kind of trying to get rid of the bad dudes, clean the government up so the good guys are there, you know. And there's a Native American element. Russians are in there because Russia was trying to do some trade with California in that era. They have guns, but this is a time when they're single shotguns. They didn't have revolvers. But a dude shows up with a prototype revolver. And that was a whole fucking series too. It's a very good series. A really good, strong start for a first season.
Yeah, I hope they make another one.
I went and I looked at the Mexican reactions. The Mexicans fucking loved it. They go, "Oh, this is great, man! Fucking, this is a good first season. I hope this continues." The guy who plays Zorro is really good. He's kind of reminds me of he's from Spain. In the story, he's a dude from Spain. He was some kind of secret agent in Spain. His dad was living in California, got killed. He goes down there to investigate the murder of his father. His name's Diego. He realizes that his father was involved with this fucking character called Zorro, who got killed. And he was a Native American guy called Zorro. And he takes on, underneath his dad's house, there was fucking Zorro's base. He takes on the mantle of Zorro to become the new Zorro. And the Indians are pissed off because they're like, no, a fucking white man can never be Zorro. That's an Indian thing. But then that gets resolved. That's all part of it. But it's a very good story. His name is Diego. He's a master swordsman.
Yeah, I liked that series a lot. And we just watched it like randomly. We were just flipping through and times like, I like Zorro.
Yeah, let's see what Zorro's all about.
Let's see what that's like.
Zorro fucking starts off in just kind of regular clothes, but as the season 1 starts, about halfway through it, he's in a suit and everything. He's armored, so he can stop fucking sword blows and shit. He uses a lot of stealth, and he's like a private investigator. Does a lot of like private investigation and trickery. And one of the things I really fucking loved about it is that they left some fucking Mexican cheese in there, some Latin cheese. Zorro jumps on the fucking horse. A woman, pretty ass fucking woman, throws a rose to him, and he fucking gets it and fucking blowing kisses and shit, and then riding off and shit.
I was like, nice.
Just like an old fucking classic Zorro movie. Yeah. Yeah.
I was into it.
Yeah, he's smelling roses and shit while he's running.
Because it had a slight comic book. That's where the Daredevil thing, but not. It was mostly realistic, but it did have a slight like.
It has a comic book flair to it.
Yeah, like just a little bit of a.
Yeah, it kind
like
of
icing on a cake.
Kind of DC.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
CB said Tom wants his own personal strippers. LOL.
Yeah, I wanted a whole team of them.
Yeah. But we were thinking about doing that just because, like I said, it would seem like there was a gap in the market.
Yeah, that would have been a good fucking side gig.
The logistics of it. Yeah. Logistics of it.
He thinks that's fucking weird, but you know, my sister-in-law and her fucking boyfriend fucking were strippers. My ex-sister-in-law.
Not my sister.
No, my first wife. Her sister and the boyfriend were strippers, and he moved here. He owns a huge strip club in Miami. He was this hunky fucking male stripper. Made a lot of money in the French Quarter. Looked like he looked like that dude from fucking Midnight Cowboy. What was that guy's name?
Which one are we talking about? Not Dustin Hoffman.
Not Dustin Hoffman, the blonde guy.
Oh shit, what's his name?
Voight. John Voight.
Yeah.
Looked like a young John Voight, but fucking he was jacked. You got to be jacked to be a stripper.
Well, nowadays for sure.
Yeah. You can't go up there with fucking love handles.
And like I said, I kind of feel like other than, and I don't even know if the Chippendales are around anymore, but like other than that, where they just do like shows every now and then, I kind of feel like all of your business is going to be, like bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
Like private parties and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, there's not like male strip clubs really. I mean, I guess
no, we have one.
There's one.
And it's an all-male review. And it's not open all the time. They only have events.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just if it's like special event. It's not like where you have like Rachel's in Orlando, which is like a strip club, which is open every day. But they serve steaks and shit.
They have events there, and according to what the reviews say, it's only like a couple times a month. But it's a blowout when they have them.
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of like rent. I think the client rents the place out.
Yeah, I would think, because it's like you couldn't afford to just have a place be empty all the time.
Yeah, I looked at their website, and the dudes were all fucking definitely pro strippers. They're like bodybuilders and dancers and shit. Yeah.
Like I said, we've kind of talked about that before, because I was talking about, I know that's kind of a thing that some women do for like bachelorette parties and stuff. I don't know, it just really never appealed to me.
It's a normie thing.
Yeah, it's super cheeseball.
Yeah, it's cheesy.
It's super
cheesy shit.
It's not sexy. It's just kind of
super normie.
It's kind of lame.
Super normie.
It's kind of lame. It's kind of cringy. Yeah. I always found it kind of cringy.
I've seen some videos of it actually going down where guys have fucking recorded their own fucking, knocking on a door and they're coming into the firemen and shit. You know what I mean? They got female staff with them and shit, and they're fucking playing music, and it's funny. Some of the shit that they do. It is funny. It's fucking funny. There's a lot of gags that they do with the girls. They keep them entertained. It's not just some dude dancing. He's
I know.
Also fucking with them. Yeah. Making them do crazy shit. It's just a party thing.
Which I get, but like I said, it just seems really cheeseball.
Dudes would just be entertained by having some chick coming with, she's got good curves and big boobs. That's all they need. You can't do that with women. There's got to be a lot different elements to it to get them riled up.
You got to make some effort, bitch.
Yeah, it's gotta
be, you can't just come in there and shake your tatas.
And there's got to be like a fucking.
And dudes will be like, okay.
And there's a shit ton of like crowd participation. They're making the girls do stuff. You know what I mean? And they're all giggling, laughing. But by all accounts, those women crowds are fucking much more disorderly than male crowds, because the guys are going to get in trouble if they grab that girl. The women aren't going to get in trouble. They're not a threat to the dude.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's not the same dynamic.
What is she going to do?
Right, she's a lot smaller than he is.
So, but they'll get out of hand.
Yeah, I could see that.
But some performers encourage that. Some groups are like, yeah, get out of hand. We don't give a shit. Just depends on what's going on, what's happening.
Yeah. Dak was saying about dubbing. It's like, I just hate dubbing. You're getting rid of half the actor's performance.
Yeah, yeah.
And 90% of the time, the voice doesn't match for the actor's
yeah.
look. Yeah, it's just kind of like...
It makes the movie look real cheap, too.
It does. And it's just like, even though the visuals haven't changed, if the audio doesn't line up with their lips, or it sounds like it was all done on a soundstage or something like that, like later on, like, it's really obvious.
A bunch of people talking about Zorro.
Yeah, well, different Zorro movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oracle said the Zorro I'm thinking of was made in 1975 and stars Alain Delon, who could swashbuckle with the best of them. Alain Delon, fun fact, was the photo on the cover of the Smiths album The Queen is Dead. That was his picture on the front of there. Quite a famous French actor.
Yes, and Oracle said something about what she liked about Zorro.
What I liked about that Zorro movie is that when necessary, Zorro can just absolutely take you out in a hot minute. If he takes longer, it's likely playing with you or you were very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what movie she's talking about.
The one from the 70s. 1975. I don't think I've ever seen that one, honestly. Maybe I did, but I don't really remember.
Well, I recommend the Mexican one that just came out this year. The series.
Yeah, it's a series. It's like, what is it, 8 episodes?
No, more than that, isn't it?
6 episodes, 8 episodes, 10 episodes?
Oh, I think it's like 12.
I can't remember.
Wasn't it like 12? Yeah, and it was a decent budget, real good writing, good choreography, acting's good, casting is really good. It's got a lot of fucking hotties in it. Zorro's fucking looking good. He kind of reminds me of Pierce Brosnan, kind of like a Spanish. Pierce Brosnan.
A bit. Like his hair's kind of blondish.
Yeah.
Well, not blonde, but
they were kind of teasing him about being so white. Too. He's like,
yeah, because he is. Yeah, I mean, he's from Spain.
He's from Spain. Yeah, he's from Castile. Yeah,
he's a white ass motherfucker. So they were kind of teasing him about.
Yeah,
and he was like came from a real wealthy family.
Yeah, he's from a real rich family, and he was some kind of secret agent, but they didn't really get into it.
They didn't, so I don't really know.
I think there's some kind of backstory that they haven't told us.
At the end of the first season, like, didn't they end up in like New York?
Yeah, the last episode ends with him standing on top of a fucking tall building in New York, looking at the fucking, and it's the 1800s.
Yeah,
it's the 1830s, and he's overlooking New York, and it's kind of like a shot out of fucking Batman. He's got his hat. He's got a really cool fucking flat Spanish hat, with mask, and cape, and a suit basically, but it's armored. And sword, and he does have guns. I think he does have guns, but he has guns, doesn't he?
I think he did.
He does use guns every now and then.
Yeah. I think. But
the guns aren't that good in the 1830s.
Well,
they're single shot.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's done with swords.
Camp Guy said, "Did Antonio Banderas do a Zorro?" Yeah, he did. When was that? The 90s?
Yeah, that was an okay one. That was an okay Zorro.
It was alright. I remember seeing that one.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember feeling one way or the other about it. I was like, yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, the new Mexican TV series is better than that.
Well, they go a lot more into it. Like
yeah.
I don't know. Like the story is good. I thought.
Yeah, and he's got a couple. There's a bunch of different female characters in there. One of them is kind of like his homegirl there, who's kind of a tough country girl who's fucking hot, who doesn't know that he's Zorro. She doesn't know Diego's Zorro, does she?
Not until later, I don't think.
In the end, she figures it out.
I thought she figured it out.
I have to see it again.
On.
Yeah, because that's his. People that know Diego don't know that he's Zorro. They think it's two different guys.
Yeah. Camp Guy said, this is funny. We had a stripogram dancer at a hospital I worked at.
Yeah.
He told the birthday girl his name was Dr. Feelgood or Fellgood.
Feelgood.
She was tricked into showing the new radiologist around the x-ray department. I can't imagine. Oh my God, please don't ever fucking do that for any of my birthdays. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, I would have no idea.
Yeah, but that's the medical staff.
Like I said, that is...
nurses and shit.
So cringy.
People in the medical industry are fucking freaks, man. We party with a lot of nurses.
Yeah, we know a lot of we would know a bunch of nurses.
Nurses, vets, and doctors. They're all freaks.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's kind of a freak, I guess.
Well, they're around death all the time, so they're just like, fuck it. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you can see why that happens.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of, and, fucking, more power to them, man. It's like, I couldn't do that fucking job. But, They do that, and like I said, they're around like fucking just shitty situations like all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Want to make another drink?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Oracle said we might like the 1975 movie, the Zorro movie.
Yeah, just who's in it? I'll watch it.
Yeah, I said like Alain Delon is in it, like that French actor. I'm gonna write that down. I have these little pieces of paper over here, and it's like so periodically, like I just go through these little scraps of paper that I have, and like put stuff in. So sometimes if I don't like, if you recommend a movie or something for the show or something, like I did write it down, but sometimes the paper, it's all around here somewhere, but I do try to put things on my list when I remember. It's a lot to keep track of. It's a lot to keep track of. But yeah. Yeah, Camp Guy said soon actors will be reduced to artificial intelligence holograms. Yeah, they probably will. I mean, yeah, what are you going to do? There's really, I kind of feel like nothing we can do to stop it at this point. The cat's out of the bag. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't feel one way or the other about it, to be honest. Like I said, it's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to ride along with the wave, you know. Yeah, Oracle said it's not just the being around death all the time, it's that you know that if you don't do your job properly, someone could die. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like it's a really high stress, and they work super long hours, too. Super long hours, and it's super stressful. Like, you never know what's going to come up on that day, and fucking, jeez. CB said, yeah, we had a guy that had a death fetish at the bar, and yes, he was into dead bodies. The owner reported him to the police. Well, I would hope so. Because, man, that's, I'm all for fetishes and kinks and everything like that, but that's yeah, no, that's kind of not acceptable. Not acceptable. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I could, even thinking about it, like, stresses me out. So, I don't think I would have, I don't think I'd be able to do it. It would just be too much anxiety. I get stressed out just doing my job, and my job is like no one's gonna die if I fuck it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can't imagine like actual life and death consequences based on my decisions. I don't think I could handle it.
You get numb to it.
You do after a while, I guess. But like I said, I'm kind of an anxious person anyway. So, I get anxious about stuff that I know that I shouldn't get anxious about. So, shit that's, like, actually anxiety-inducing, like life or death, I don't know if I could do that day in and day out.
Well, if you're in the infantry, though, fucking that's all it's about. That's the central focus of it. Killing and being killed. And you and your friends' numbers will come up eventually. It's the way to,
well, no, I know that.
It just becomes part of the game.
Yeah.
But we had, like, a casino mentality. Like it'll either happen or it won't. Depending, because it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're spotted and you get shelled by artillery pieces, it doesn't matter what a good soldier you were. You got spotted.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like it does. Yeah, it doesn't matter how skilled you are or anything like that. Like
it's a matter of luck.
Shit could happen to anybody.
Yeah, and fucking if an attack helicopter sees your unit, you're fucking toast. That thing's gonna be like the Terminator. From fucking Terminator 2.
Yeah, and there was nothing you could have done to prevent that.
No. And there's all kinds of videos of it, of Afghan fucking fighters trying to escape attack helicopters and fucking AC-130 gunships. And you can see them running. And you see in the gun camera footage of guys fucking lobbing fucking 105 millimeter howitzer rounds down on them. An explosion happens, he'll run this way, and then the guy try to lead him and hit him with another one and just bouncing this poor guy around, and eventually they get him. And you're like, yeah, that's exactly what it'd be like. You'd be in the dark, it's at night, you can't see what the hell's going on. There's just random explosions happening around you. You're not even sure where that's coming from. Because the plane's so high, you can't hear the plane. But fucking, it'd be like you'd feel helpless as fuck.
Yeah, Oracle said she's worked in healthcare for 30 years, and she said, aside from the sense of humor we all get, oh yeah, we know that dark sense of humor, we tend not to be very compassionate about other people's work stress. It's like, oh, you mean the worst that could happen to you is you get sued or fired? Ha ha ha. She's like, okay, I'm exaggerating a bit, but you get the idea. Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of like being a fucking... I don't know, anything where your job entails you, like, people dying if you fuck up, like an airplane pilot or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if I want that kind of stress in my life. Because, like I said, I'm stressed out enough as it is, and my job is very low stakes. So, you know, so I really actually admire people that can do that do it on purpose. Because I would probably never.
I was talking about The Intruder.
Like I said, I watched that Dennis Quaid film The Intruder last night to get in the spirit of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Man, that's such a good film, just like Hider in the House, but the soundtrack is good. I don't remember what the soundtrack was. It must not have been.
I talked about it. I was blown away in the fucking theater. I loved it.
It was like a Lifetime movie, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It knew what it was. The movie.
Yeah, and it leaned into that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we said that in the review, and I said that will give me mad respect. Yeah. They knew we are making a big budget Lifetime movie, and we're just gonna roll with it, and just gonna we're gonna lean into it. Yeah. We're not gonna pretend it's anything else. We're not gonna try to be fancy. We're not gonna try to be highbrow or anything like that. We're just rolling with that, and it's just gonna be as ridiculous. And I was like, all right, I see what you do. I respect that. I respect
Dennis
that game.
Quaid fucking
I respect that game.
Creeping around fucking.
I mean, he was great in The Substance
he's
too.
Great, yeah.
He plays a great dirtbag.
Yeah, dirtbag who just fucking chews up the whole fucking scenery. And fucking, if you guys haven't seen Intruder, you gotta see it. All right, I'll just tell you guys the premise. The premise is a dude is selling his house. It's like a mansion. He's selling it to a young couple. It's a black couple who are married, and the dude's fucking wife is fucking gorgeous. What's her name? You know that actress's name?
I can't remember actually. I've seen her in other stuff, but I can't remember what her name is.
I think he's a doctor, wasn't he? He was like
something like that.
Something like that.
I can't remember. It's been a while.
So Quaid sells his house. I'll call him Quaid, just like Dennis Quaid. I don't remember the character's
name. I don't
name.
remember the character's
name.
He
sells them the house.
Dennis fucking Quaid.
But only pretends to leave. He didn't leave. He was still living in a damn house in between the walls, and he had fucking like subterranean passages.
And at first he's just like, "Hey, I'm just coming over being neighborly and like mowing your lawn."
Mowing your lawn for you.
Thanks, man, but hey,
you don't live here anymore.
You don't live here anymore.
He was living there, right? Yeah. And he was creeping around through these secret passages and shit, fucking lusting off old boy's fucking wife, looking at her booty while she was asleep and shit. Remember that?
Doing that grinchy smile that he's like, he's smiling, which he also did in The Substance.
Licking his tongue out.
Yeah.
Man, that
was Hannibal Lecter shit.
That shit was fucking creepy as shit, man.
He was very creepy in that.
Yeah, and the dude's trying
it was ridiculous and over the top, but that
over the top.
That made it like creepier to me.
But that made it better. That made it fucking better. That was
That's
over
what
the
I
top.
liked about it.
They knew what kind of movie they were making.
Yeah. Like I said, you don't usually see big budget Lifetime type movies like on the big screen. Yeah. And I was kind of like, I'm kind of into that.
Yeah.
They should do that more.
Yeah, it's good. Fucking Quaid's fucking cool, man.
Because man, all those like Lifetime movies they made, and they've been making these since like the fucking it's probably back into the '90s, the '90s and 2000s, and all of them are just these horrible like your boyfriend is a stalker type things, and they have like these ridiculous fucking titles. Like what was that one that always like made me laugh? Like, Mother, May I Play with Danger, or so it was something like that. It was some ridiculous title like that. It was something like that. And it's just, they had great titles like that, and they all had the same fucking plot, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just kind of like, some woman meets this dude, and he seems like super perfect, and he's super hot, and everything like that, and it turns out, spoiler alert, that he's like a fucking crazy psychopathic stalker or whatever, and it's just like, so they always had the same plot, but I'm kind of into those, though. I think that's maybe the same reason that I end up watching, like, true crime all the time, because it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just like a weird... Is it masochism? I don't know what it is. But it's just kind of like that. I really liked that they made a big budget. I don't think it did very well at the box office because people were probably like, what the fuck is this? It's like the most ridiculous shit ever. But I don't know. I respected that game because I saw what they were doing. And I like that. And like I said, Dennis Quaid was also in The Substance, which, as I've mentioned, is my second favorite horror movie that came out this year. The Substance is fucking great if you haven't seen it. And he was in that too, and he was chewing the scenery up. Man, he was such a fucking scumbag in that, and he was delicious.
You talking about Dennis Quaid?
In the Substance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was good in that.
Oh, he was just like...
He was just an obvious dickbag.
Oh, he was so disgusting. He was so grotesque. It was like, it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, and he's eating and getting shit all over. And
it was like these close-ups of his mouth.
And he knows... That's the thing about fucking Quaid is he knows what kind of role he's playing, too. That's fucking awesome. And he loves it. You can tell he's having fun doing that shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean...
Yeah.
That was fantastic, yeah.
I mean, he's a Hollywood gem. He's really kind of going down the path of fucking the crazy motherfucker.
Nicolas Cage?
No, Nicolas Cage is pretty crazy. I mean, that's not the one I was talking about.
Gary Busey?
Gary Busey.
Yeah.
He's kind of like...
Not quite to Gary Busey level, because, man, Gary
He
Busey
really is
like,
crazy, but fucking...
He's like sleeping under bridges. Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have Busey over your house, he'll sleep on your couch with you. Yeah, here, have a drink. Okay, man, fucking good. Go ahead. Okay, I'll be back in a couple days. Fucking
You got any meth?
Yeah, he's a fucking wino.
I'm just teasing. I don't know if he's
no, but fucking, he's not that bad. But he's kind of like a Gary Busey kind of fucking...
I didn't really expect him to go like that because Dennis Quaid...
He wasn't always like that.
Well, because CB just said I watched Enemy Mine from 1985 like today. So
that's a great movie.
That's a great movie. Yeah, we reviewed that a while back. And like he was in like Dreamscape from 1984, which I really like that movie too. And it's like, so he was kind of like, was he A-list in this 80s? I kind of feel like maybe
almost B plus
list.
Yeah,
maybe kind of slide as I mean, he was a name.
He was a name.
So
I would say he's B list probably.
Yeah, probably.
If you liked Enemy Mine, you got to see the unofficial sequel. It's called Hunter Prey. It's a really good independent flick. And they mention the Drax in it. And it's about some dudes fucking hunting down this alien in the desert. They're on another planet. You realize it's aliens hunting down another alien. And eventually when you see who it is you're dealing with, you find out the alien they're hunting is a man. Yeah. He's a human. Is who they're hunting. It's a real good fucking movie. And it was made by guys who made special effects.
Yeah, it was like special effects guys.
They were special effects guys. And they had all this shit that they made. And they said, we can make a movie with this. They went out in the desert and made a movie.
It's good, actually.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's fairly recent, right? It's like, what is it, 2018?
No, it's not that early. It's more like 2006.
Oh, is it? I didn't
and it's hard to find. It's hard to find it.
We reviewed it.
Yeah, it's hard to find it because I don't think it was a fucking wide release, but it's called Hunter Prey.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought was very interesting about it is that the lead of the movie was a dude playing an alien, all right? And it was a black lead. It's a black dude playing an alien, and he's the lead in it. And you don't really see that much. A black dude playing an alien, and he's the lead.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of like, he starts off, what was cool about it is that he starts off, he's just a man of duty, you know what I mean? His duty is to fucking catch this alien. He's kind of a man of honor in a way. But he's representing the bad guys. The empire that he serves is pretty fucking evil, you know.
And he realizes that.
Yeah, he realizes that at the end. Yeah. Fucking, he kind of becomes a good guy at the end. But it's just a good movie because it was made from the heart, all practical effects. It didn't try to overreach. Shit that they couldn't afford to show, they didn't show it. They just showed what they could afford.
They were just kind of like, look, we have this set, we have these costs, we have this situation, like, let's write a story that utilizes that.
Right.
And they didn't, like you said, they didn't try to do anything, like, way too ambitious or anything like that. They just made, like, a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, High Desert said I had no idea there was a sequel. It's not an official sequel, but they made it, like, I guess it's, like, in the same universe. I guess they made it in the same universe. But it's not, like, related
the
to
human dude gets in an argument with the fucking Imperial fucking soldiers that are coming after him. And they talk about what trash the Drax were. And he goes, no, the Drax were honorable. You know, because just so the Drax were the fucking, from Enemy Mine.
From Enemy Mine, yeah.
Right.
That's pretty cool though, because like I said, you can just, as long as you're not stepping on anyone's dick like their copyright or anything like that, but you can use stuff like that from other movies and like make something in the same universe. Yeah. They can't sue you for that.
And they wanted something at the same scale as Enemy Mine. And Enemy of Mine was a small scale. It was just 2 characters on a planet, and they didn't really show you much, but they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because the fucking writing was good.
Yeah.
And the acting was very good.
Yeah, you don't have to be like all fucking. You don't have to spend $300 million in special effects
and
if you have a good script.
And the dude that played the Drac was a black guy.
Yeah.
And the dude that plays the fucking Imperial dude is a black guy. And they're black dudes playing aliens.
Yeah.
And both of them give fucking like Academy Award winning fucking performances as an alien with their fucking vocal fucking patterns and shit like that. They did a real good job. And you know, that's one of the things is you don't see a lot of black people in science fiction.
Yeah, you really don't.
No, it's not really a black thing.
It's better now.
It's not really that popular with black dudes. Don't like science fiction that much. Some do. The nerds do. But they think science fiction's nerdy.
That is a very outdated viewpoint still, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe back in the day.
Yeah, well, most of the dudes I'm talking about were my generation.
Yeah, like now, like everybody watch. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people watch sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's not just like nerdy shit anymore.
Yeah, but that's one of just we reviewed it. We got the fucking thing here. Try to find it. You might be able to get a pay-per-view or something. Hunter Prey. It's a classic fucking flick. Nobody knows about it.
Yeah,
it's just made super well.
Radar a little bit, unfortunately.
It's made super well. I think I have a copy, don't
I? You might, yeah. We've watched it a couple of times. We reviewed it. I don't remember how long ago it was. But we've watched it again since then.
Yeah. What I liked about it is that they're in the desert on location. The equipment that they're wearing is super realistic. It's like something you would actually use in combat, including the guns, the communications that they're using, the communications technology, the tactics and shit that they're using. It's they had experience. They had somebody helping advising them how things are done, and they're pursuing this alien who's been shipwrecked on this fucking desert planet. They're trying to catch him because he's supposed to be just the most dangerous thing fucking forever. You can't see him because he's got this fucking mask on his face. And it's hooked into him somehow. It's like biological. It looks like a living thing on his neck. Yeah. It was something to keep him alive or to hide his identity. I don't remember. Eventually he gets it off and it fucking had things going down his throat and shit. And he fucking takes it off.
Yeah,
and you can see it's a man.
Yeah.
They were hunting a man. They were just saying that he was the most dangerous thing ever. And I don't remember what it was. He knew something about their home planet. He was trying to deliver some kind of fucking information back to humans.
Something like that.
It was something like that, yeah.
But that was kind of like the whole... Well, spoiler
alert.
But that was kind of the whole twist of the thing, is you thought this whole time they were hunting this alien, but it actually turned out it was a human.
You thought it was aliens hunting another alien.
Right.
It wasn't. It was a human, but from their point of view, it was an alien.
It was an alien. Well, yeah. I mean, it would be.
You thought that the dudes hunting the alien were humans until they took their helmets off.
And then they were the aliens, and then
right,
the person they were hunting was a human. But yeah, it's a good flick if you can find it. Like I said, I don't know how available it is nowadays, but we might have it somewhere. We've seen it a couple of times. Camp Guy says, oh my god, Dolly Osterich, I guess it's Estrich, had her lover living in the attic of their home for something like 10 years. Her husband was a rich alcoholic dude that wasn't home a lot. The lover actually moved from one house to another one in a totally different city when they moved, and they ended up killing the husband, and she finally got caught. Holy fucking shit. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. That sounds like a good episode right there. I don't think I've ever seen that fucking story. Like, what? The actual, like, what? Okay. I maybe kind of talked about this a little bit, like, on Wednesday night show. We were talking about fucking Catherine Knight, that fucking batshit crazy twat. I was just kind of like, what is going through some people's heads? What would go through your head that would make you think it was a good idea? Hey, I live in this house with my husband. Everything's cool and everything like that. But hey, I'm getting this bit on the side. And I'm going to move this dude into the attic. And then the husband won't find out about it. So you have to do like this whole... Was that their kink? Did they get off on him being up there and like the husband not knowing about it? Or I don't know. Like 10 years, that's a long fucking time. Also, how often was like the husband not there? Because I think I would know if somebody was living in the attic. I would hope. We don't have a big... We just have a... It's not even an attic. It's like a fucking... It's just a little crawl space situation. And it's right there, like in the closet. Like that's where the entrance is. Right there. So it's just kind of like... Pretty sure I would know if somebody was living in the attic. But maybe not. I don't know. Dude must have been gone all the time. I don't get it. We did a whole show, too, about what they call frogging. You know, like somebody living in somebody's house and, like, they don't know about it. I can't imagine. Can't imagine. Oh, my God. I got so behind. Ugh. Oracle says, bragging rights. I once got to interview Barry Longear, the guy who wrote the original Enemy Mine story. Ooh, that's super cool.
What does he say?
Oracle said she once got to interview Barry Longear, the guy who wrote the original Enemy Mine story.
Okay, yeah.
That's fucking awesome. That's awesome. Ira says, author CM Alongi, is it Alongi or Alongi, has a black main character in her novel Citadel. It's really good in character development, world building, story, and more. The character is also neurodivergent. That's like pretty cool, actually. I don't read or watch a lot of sci-fi because I'm a horror girl, but I do like some sci-fi, like, you know, so there is a crossover, but, you know, Victor says, hey, I made it.
Yeah, Jeff here was talking about fucking Benjamin Sisko. Yeah, that was another good, that's where you had a good black lead in science fiction. But, you know, that was kind of like odd. You didn't see that often. But, yeah, that was a great series. Although, I must say that the best actor out of any fucking Star Wars was fucking Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs played every fucking character in Star Wars. And in fucking Star Trek Enterprise, he plays fucking Commander Shran. And that's a fucking great character. It's too bad the fucking Enterprise ended when it did. Because in the following season, Commander Shran, he'd lost his ship. He lost in the Andorian fleet. They kicked him out. So he was going to end up being one of Archer's fucking advisors on the fucking Enterprise. Kind of the way T'Pol was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but it ended. They ended that series in a bad way, too. But two of the best fucking Mirror Universe episodes were from fucking Enterprise. It was a 2-part series. In a Mirror Darkly 1 and 2. That's fucking fantastic. So when the Thalians fucking captured the Defiant from Captain Kirk's time and brought it back into the past. In the Mirror Universe. And the Terran Empire and the Enterprise are going to try to capture that ship. They did capture it. And it was from like several hundred years in the future. But what it was is, if you remember in the original series with Kirk, remember when he was on that one episode where the Defiant was vanishing? Mm-hmm. And he was on there and he vanished and he became a ghost for a while, but then they brought him back?
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. Well, that explained why that Defiant was vanishing into another dimension.
Yeah.
It was because in another universe, in the Mirror Universe, in the past, the Thalians from there were bringing it backwards from another dimension in the future. Man, it's some wild shit, man. Imagine getting something from the future in a parallel dimension.
I mean, I just got hung up on the whole Jeffrey Combs thing because
Jeffrey Combs was fucking. He was in all this.
I low key like love.
Combs was in
Jeffrey
every
Combs.
fucking Star Trek. I think he was in Next Generation too. I think
Was
he played.
he?
Yeah, I think
I can't remember.
He played aliens usually. I think he played a Ferengi for a while. He'd show up and be a Ferengi.
Did he?
In another episode, he'd show up and be something else.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to go look that up.
But when you got into Deep Space Nine, he played like a couple characters there. One of them was like a fucking Jem'Hadar dude who was a clone who had all these fucking other clones, and he'd pull out he just played a lot. He played some Romulans, I think. But his best work was on Enterprise. They were gonna make him a main character in the series. Imagine that.
That
Combs
so
is
cool.
a main character.
That's the thing, man. It's just kind of feel like, look, like I said, I'm a horror girl, so it's just like I love all the horror icons. I love Jeffrey Combs. I love Bruce Campbell. I love like all that kind of shit. And it's just kind of it kills me that dudes like that are not like A-list actors. But you know, at least we love them.
He had he came from B movie horror that was fucking awesome. You know, Reanimator.
Fuck
fucking
yeah,
From
man.
Beyond.
That's one of my favorite movies ever.
Lovecraftian shit. But then he went into Star Trek, which pulled him into television.
Yeah.
He did do fucking Frighteners. He was great as fucking Special Agent Dammers. He did a good job. He was always kind of a character actor.
But see, I like that.
But there was more to him. He could have fucking done lead roles. You know what I mean? Where
yeah, I love that shit.
See, I would have loved to have seen a Star Trek Commander Shran movie.
I'd watch that.
Where everybody in the movie is an alien. There aren't any humans in it. Just fucking Shran as an Andorian with his crew.
Yeah, I would watch
That'd have been really cool.
I would watch that.
Yeah, no humans in it at all.
Yeah, fuck humans.
Yeah.
Let me see. Hold on. Oh, Burley says, wasn't there a movie with Gary Busey that was living in the attic of some family's house?
Yeah.
Yes, it was called Hider in the House.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
And we just reviewed it.
Yeah.
How long ago? Just
a
couple months ago.
A couple months ago.
Yeah, but like fairly recently.
Good movie.
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
He's not at his Buseyest, as in he's not like super crazy,
He's
like
not
because
crazy.
it's an older movie, like right. It was made for TV, was it not?
I don't know.
I thought it was made for TV.
It didn't seem like it.
Maybe not. Was it from the 80s? Now I can't even remember.
Yeah.
We reviewed it not that long ago, but I thought it was late 80s, like 89 or something. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But yeah, so like I said, it does kind of bum me out that it's better than it used to be, but there did used to be kind of a stigma about horror actors that it's just kind of like you kind of got ghettoized, I guess, like in that genre. And it's like, oh, well, we can't take you seriously as an actor because you're just in those shitty horror movies. You know what I mean? Which is kind of a shame because there's a lot of really good
Jeff
actors.
Yarr corrected me. Yeah, okay. He played a Vorta, which evidently ran the Jem'Hadar. I thought they were the same species, but I thought they were like clones. You know, I know the Vorta were clones, but I thought they were part of like a caste system, and the Jem'Hadar were like their warriors that they used. I wasn't quite sure. I thought they were basically the same species, I guess, but they were just like, you know, they were just doing ants and drones and workers, and I thought they were like that. But I didn't really see all of the fucking Deep Space Nine. But I did see some episodes with him playing that Vorta.
Yeah, because Sabrina said Jeffrey Combs played a Ferengi in Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
DS9.
Okay. So he wasn't. He wasn't in any of the fucking Next Generation then. I thought he was.
Well, I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to look.
He played a bunch of different aliens.
Yeah.
But I always, you know, that Vorta character. I don't remember the name of that Vorta character, but a lot of the fans of Deep Space Nine said they loved that character. He would keep showing up, even though it wasn't really him. It was a clone of him, because there was like there was a lot of those. All Jeffrey Combs. Every one of them was Jeffrey Combs, but there's a lot of
Jeffrey Combs is a national fucking treasure.
You got to clone him. Yeah.
He's
clone
a national fucking treasure. Just like Bruce Campbell is too. Also a national fucking treasure. And like I said, I feel like they don't really get a lot of appreciation with mainstream audiences, but y'all missing out.
As far as the Star Trek goes, as far as the Star Trek material I've seen that had Jeffrey Combs in it, I thought his best fucking character was Commander Shran. I could see a whole fucking movie with Shran.
Oh, I would totally watch. I would watch a whole series. With
Shran.
Him in it playing that character.
Shran was fucking. Shran was like Kirk, you know, but instead of human, he was a fucking Andorian. But he was very much like Captain Kirk. If you took Captain Kirk and crossbred him with fucking General Patton, like that, he was like that.
Yeah, Jeff Yarr is just kind of like a Trekkie nerd showing. It's like Trekkie nerd. I own it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's no shame. I'm a big fan. I don't know if I call myself a Trekkie nerd, but I love the original series. Love.
Yeah.
I've seen it like several times. I've seen like some of the other stuff too, but I don't like it as much as the original. Because I have a big crush on Spock.
Jeff, were the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar from the same species though, or are they just two different species working together? I thought they were the same species. I thought it was a whole species of clones and genetically engineered things.
Okay.
That's what I thought it was.
Mixtape Swagger says, did you guys like Smile 2? We haven't seen it yet. I liked the first one. Like, I didn't think it was fantastic, but it was, like, pretty good. I keep seeing the trailer for it, and I was like, well, I don't know, maybe. But then I had a friend, actually it was Brian Hackett, messaged me.
Yeah.
And said, you guys should go see Smile 2 because it's amazing.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like, okay. Like, I said I didn't love the first one. Like, it was pretty good.
I don't remember which one that was. That's the one with the smiles?
Yeah. I don't think you saw the first one. I think maybe just I saw it. It's good. I mean, the first one's good, though. I saw the trailer for Smile 2, like, a bunch of times, and I was, like, ambivalent about seeing it. But I don't know. Maybe if enough people, like, recommend it and say it's good, then I'll see it. But I'm more excited about Heretic. We're going to go see that this weekend. You know. Side quest just got here. Sorry I'm late.
What's up, Side quest?
Just got off work. You're not late. It's all right. It's only 8:49. Heaven's sakes. All right, so I got to go to the bathroom, so entertain people for a few minutes.
She's walking away in them damn bell bottoms. She's just looking good. Yeah, go ahead. That's right. Smack it.
I know how you do.
All right. All right, Jeffrey, I said they were part of the Dominion. They're fascists like the Federation that was founded by a race of shapeshifters that cloned their servant races. Okay, yeah. So, yes, that's basically what I thought it was. The Jem'Hadar were stuff that the Vorta created, right, to serve them, which that's part of the same species, kind of. It's just same like the caste system inside of a fucking ant colony. That's how I imagined it. But I saw a couple episodes with them on there. I miss that old Star Trek, man. If y'all like fucking real Star Trek, when I say Star Trek, I'm talking about the real Star Trek, like fucking the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise. I'm gonna put Enterprise in there. The only problem with Enterprise was the fucking theme song. That was not a sci-fi theme song, all right?
Man, I hate that theme song.
That theme song fucking sucked. That theme song ruined that fucking series, I think. It was like a folk rock song, and it's just like, no, that's not what Star Trek is. In the Mirror Universe episodes of fucking Star Trek of Star Trek Enterprise, it has a different fucking theme song that was a lot better. It was like a swashbuckling fucking theme song, like some pirates, futuristic Pirates of the Caribbean and shit. But shit, I forgot where I was going with all that.
Well, don't look at me because
I forgot where I was
going. I was in the bathroom.
I was just talking about Star Trek.
Now, Sabrina says, on his IMDb, it doesn't say Jeffrey Combs was on Next Generation. Yes. And the name of his Ferengi character on DS9 was Brunt.
Brunt?
And then he played another one on Enterprise named Krem.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember you made me watch Enterprise. Well, you didn't make me, but you suggested.
I had you watch it, yeah.
You had me watch it. You didn't force me to watch it or anything. Watch this or else.
Enterprise had a couple problems. One of the problems was the time war. They had some kind of interdimensional time war thing that didn't seem like that storyline was going anywhere. So then they just fucking forgot about it. They threw that one away. It was called the fucking it was time travelers fighting each other. It took a couple years for fucking Enterprise to start rolling. But even in the first couple seasons of it, it had some really good episodes. Like where they found the fucking maintenance bay floating out in outer space where you could fix a ship. It would ask you what kind of repairs you wanted, and it would do all this shit for you. And it would say, you can pay for this by using some of your warp plasma, or you can pay for it by this and that. So they just paid for it the easy way, and it was using like fucking super high replicator technology to fucking replicate fucking machines and to fix panels and shit. And it was improving the ship. And they left, and they realized that some of the crew was missing. I think it was Trip. Trip was missing. So they went back, and they fucking had to invade that thing. It turned out it had been stealing crew members and hooking them up. And they were like in suspended animation with fucking, I guess they were running the AI, using them as some kind of fuel source. Some of them looked half dead. See, they got him out of there.
If shit sounds too good to be true.
It sounded too good to be true. Yeah, that was a good episode.
Hey, we'll fix your shit for free.
Well, it wasn't for free. They just wanted They just wanted kind of low prices, like a little bit of warp plasma, or you could fucking sacrifice one of your something or other emitters. You know what I mean?
Then you leave and you're like, hey,
we're missing some people.
Carl?
Yeah. He
was just here.
They had his ass hooked up to the database, fucking in suspended animation, using him to fucking power the ship and shit, along with like 30 other ones, and some of them looked dead. And they were all different fucking species aliens and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, they're just getting everybody.
Yeah, anybody
bringing people in with like some low prices. Hey, we'll do an oil change for $8.99.
It was a fucking deep space scam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they didn't tell you
we're going to take some of your crew members as payment.
Yeah, it's in the fine print. You should have read it.
Yeah,
see, that's what happened.
There wasn't anybody on it. It was all AI. You know what I mean? And they asked T'Pol, he says, "What the fuck is this?" She goes, I can't explain it, but certain species have different fucking priorities. This is just how it is because there's nobody on it.
Right.
It's just a big bot. You know, it's a big robot out in space. And she says, well, should we do it? And she goes, well, I don't see why not. You know? And it was kind of
like, we have no idea what this is or what its motives are or anything, but why not?
Well, it was kind of like the Star Trek version of you're flying and you see a car wash. You know what I mean? You just pay for the car wash, get the car wash. It was like that.
It'll be fine.
It'll be all right. It should be okay. Yeah.
That's kind of like stopping at the gas station in, like, the Leatherface town. Yeah. You know what I mean? It'll be fine. I'm sure they don't eat people or anything. You know what I mean? DVD Dragon says, Tom Jeffrey Combs played Wayun. He and his clones were basically the diplomat / middle management of the Dominion.
Okay, you're right, yeah.
Oh, and then they're talking about Mindhunter. Is that coming back? Because Burley said Mindhunter's back. Are we finally going to see BTK? Yeah, is he going to be on the next one? Oh, have you guys watched that? What did we watch on? It was Netflix, right? The shit that was the series about the Zodiac.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
It was actually about Arthur Lee Allen.
Yeah.
And I think it's 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it's called This is the Zodiac Speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I got convinced that dude was the Zodiac.
Well, after watching that, because I think we did a show about the Zodiac like a long time ago, and I was kind of like, well, I mean, Arthur Lee Allen was their prime suspect for a long time for a reason, and they added more shit to this, like people that knew him when they were kids and shit like that, and everything they said, I'm just like, this had to be the.
He admitted to it, to people,
according to
people.
I don't know
that were related to him. That he admitted to it. That it was him. And he was doing all kinds of other shit, doing pedo stuff and on his fucking stepdaughter. He was a fucking weird dude. He was just...
Yeah, he drugged his... It wasn't necessarily his stepdaughter because he didn't marry their mom.
It was his girlfriend's
He was just like
daughter.
A family friend-ish.
Yeah, his girlfriend's daughter.
I think he was fucking the mom, though. I mean, I'm sure he was fucking the mom. Even though they didn't really say that. The kids, I think, didn't really know what was going on.
Her little brother. She's like 12 or something.
Well, initially, he wanted to just take her.
Yeah.
But then the brother was like, it seems a little sketch, so he went along too. And he was like, okay, fine. But then he drugged them.
But somehow.
As far as we know.
So they couldn't really remember what happened.
And then later on, like, he admitted that he had molested the girl.
When he was an old man, he was thinking about what a good father figure he was. He goes, I wasn't that good, you know. And he admitted he was dying anyway. When he says, I molested, I drugged you guys.
But the weird thing about it is
he started confessing to a bunch of shit.
The woman, I mean, who was molested as a girl allegedly, you know, she's obviously an old woman now.
Yeah, she loved him,
and she still.
Yeah, she thought it was good.
She didn't remember it, obviously, because she was drugged and she was a kid.
Yeah.
But she still could not believe.
Yeah, that he did that.
That he was the Zodiac.
Yeah.
She did not believe it.
He was good to her. And it helped the family out and stuff. He was a dude kind of like BTK.
Told you, man, can't trust nobody.
Where he had a face of a very fucking upstanding, honorable guy. To the people that knew him, but actually he was going out hunting people and killing them and shit. And he was secretly molesting people. He was a big dude. He was a fucking big dude. They showed he was like Hoss from Bonanza. That's what they said. And they showed a picture of him, and they showed the dude.
And I was like, that never occurred to me.
Yeah.
Dan Blocker is that.
Yeah. He was just like that.
But yeah, it's just I never occurred. It never occurred to me until they showed a picture, and I was like, oh my god, he does look exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got in with he was a teacher.
He was a teacher.
Arthur Lee Allen was, and he got in with this family. The dad went to prison. Went to prison, right? And so then, like, the mom was raising all these kids by herself, and the teacher kind of insinuated himself into their life.
Long term.
And, like, they were...
The rest
and the
of their
kids
life.
loved him.
Yeah.
Like, he took them on all these trips and everything like that.
Yeah.
But when they remembered it later, they said, we didn't really think about it until later on, but they were thinking about, man, like, all these trips that he took us on, it all, like, coincidentally lined up to when some of the Zodiac... And some of the crimes that happened before the canonical Zodiac crimes that they think were maybe the Zodiac.
Probably was him.
Like the Domingos. What was that one that was
a series of murders happened before the fucking Zodiac
and Sherry Joe Bates and all of that
were like Zodiac murders. And that was him.
It was that. So and they remembered like, hey, he took us on a trip to this place,
to
like
that area,
right, to that area, like
at
the same time that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So he's going on trips with the kids and then killing people, leaving the kids back at the fucking cottage or whatever, and going to kill people. Come back and it's like everything was all right.
I told you, man. That's the kind of shit that freaks me out, and I think that's probably why I just like obsessively like read about serial killers and shit like that. It's just because the ones that are creepy and you know to avoid them, like that look like dirtbags, you know, that's not that interesting. The shit that's more interesting to me is the ones that had families and the ones that nobody had any idea.
Yeah.
That blows my fucking mind. And that freaks me the fuck
There's
out.
an element to them, though, there's an element to them I would think I would spot.
I mean, you would think, but you don't know. Some people might be really good at it. I mean, nobody saw it back then.
I've seen the interviews of the guys, and they just kind of come off as like superficial and
they do,
and pathological liars.
I mean, that's the thing. Whenever I saw, and I don't know, it's like hard for me to say because whenever you see like interviews with Ted Bundy, it's like to me he comes off as like obviously creepy.
Yeah.
Like obviously not creepy.
Gary Ridgway.
Well, Gary
Ridgway gives it off.
Well, I was gonna say that's like an acceptable. That's a dude you would just like cross the street to avoid, no matter what. Like he just
scuzzy little.
Yeah,
dude.
he just came off like a scumbag.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people have said, oh, Ted Bundy, he was so charming and everything. But to me, he always came across as like very, very like super cocky and like just.
He was pretending to be cocky.
Yeah, and
really
he just like came to me. Came to me. To me, he seemed like very fake.
Yeah, fake.
And like very so that it was very off-putting. And a lot of women said that about him at the time, too. They were like, yeah, we thought he was, like, kind of weird. Like, he was he was very off-putting. But a lot of dudes, like, they thought he was cool because he was just kind of good at, superficially, he was very charming. But he always came across as being very fake, or it was kind of like an act. Like an act.
Yeah.
So I always kind of wonder about people that are serial killers, like for example, like BTK or somebody like that had long-term families, like because BTK was married, he had kids, and you know, and other serial killers did too, and they were doing this shit for like years, like decades, and their families didn't know, and they just thought he was like regular, and it's just kind of like that fucking scares the shit out of me. Like I said, if it's just some dude that's obviously creepy that you're just like, yeah, no thanks, yeah, that's kind of different. But if this is a person, because I cannot imagine what it would be like finding out that your husband or your dad or something like, or your brother, was this, because I have brothers, you know what I mean? It's like, but I don't think either of them are serial killers, but because they're really nice people. But it's just kind of like, I can't imagine like finding that out. Like you wouldn't believe it. Yeah, you wouldn't believe it.
I remembered what I was talking about, guys, before I fucking lost my train of thought. I was talking about the Star Trek fans out there. If you like old school Star Trek stuff, you got to get on fucking YouTube and you can for free watch STC, Star Trek Continues, and it's fan made. And it's the final season to the original old Star Trek. It's got Spock and Kirk, and it's different actors, man, but they're real good. And a lot of times it's like the dude that plays Scotty is fucking DeForest, fucking his son.
Yeah,
plays
DeForest Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the Romulan commander that fucking Spock was fucking around with, that one Romulan chick. It's her daughter plays the fucking Romulan fucking officer. A bunch of shit happens in that explains a lot of shit. It's written really well, man. Fucking, and it looks just like, or a little bit better than the original series, but it's the same, better special effects, but it's the same kind of writing, and a lot of the same guys who wrote episodes, the original, or wrote the episodes that they did. So it's not like it's something that pulled totally out of their ass. It is directly related to the original series by DNA. A lot of the same writers. It's really good. And then like a lot of the actors from the old series come back. Aaron Gray was on there playing fucking a Star Fleet Ops. Fucking Lou Ferrigno shows up, plays the Orion Slave Master. Fucking, there's all kinds of.
They tried to make it look as much like the original series as possible.
Yeah, it's real good, and it's got a great mirror universe fucking episode. Remember in fucking Mirror when fucking our Spock goes into the, or our fucking Captain Kirk goes into the mirror universe and sees the Terran Empire and shit. And then he fucking tells the Spock over there, he says, look, man, every man, with the beginning of a revolution, there's always one man with an idea. You know, he's like inspiring Spock to overthrow the fucking Terran Empire. Well, they got the second part of that in that season. And it's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
What that Spock does in the other universe to overthrow the Empire, which he does. Yeah, fucking, you got to see it. It's good. It's really good. And it also explains why is it in Star Trek the Motion Picture? Why does Spock leave Starfleet? And they explain why.
Yeah, like Spock, a lot of stuff that was kind of just hinted at the original series, they made whole episodes like explaining like why.
They had these things called espers, which were ESP people that were superhumans. It was kind of like in the first few episodes of Star Trek. Remember they had that guy who fucking he started to have like a godlike powers.
Yeah.
Well, there's more of those, and they become a fucking big threat. But it's really good, man. See Star Trek Continues on YouTube for free.
They're talking about the Tobe Hooper movie, Funhouse, which, yeah, I love that movie, actually. We did a review of that, like, a long time ago. I always remember it, too, like, I mean, it's just a great movie all around, but I always remember it, too, because that is the only other movie that I've seen the same actress that played Stanzi from Amadeus is in that movie. I don't know why that always, like, I guess because Amadeus is, like, one of my favorite movies of all time, and I've seen it, like, a bajillion times, but it's just, like, I didn't see her in anything. I was like, oh, she was also in Funhouse, but those are the only two movies that I know her from. So I thought that was kind of funny. Victor says, Chris Watts, not a serial killer, but family annihilator, looked pretty normal. Yeah, see, I'm always kind of more fascinated by that kind of shit. Like, I'm always, you know, I know, like I said, Tom gets on my case for watching, like, true crime all the time. But shit, man, last night I found this new show. I think it's on HBO Max. It's not new, but, you know, I just found it. And it's called, what is it called? Murder Comes to Town. Right. And it's basically, the whole premise of it is just true crime cases set in, like, super small towns, right? Like, where they haven't had a murder in, like, 40 years or whatever, and then all of a sudden this horrible murder happens, and it's just kind of like this, well, it's like an hour-long show. And it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of, I think they were trying to go for, do you guys remember City Confidential? Like, that show, like, with that narrator that had that real distinctive voice, I can't remember what his name was, but I think they were kind of going for that vibe, because they have a narrator on there that has kind of a distinctive voice in that style. It's not the same dude. But yeah, so it's kind of like that. So I've kind of been getting into that. But the thing that always fascinates me about it is that, you know, and especially the cases that are on this show, it's like these tiny towns, like 200 population or some shit like that. And it's just kind of like the one I watched last night. It was like this older lady, and she had just retired. She was like in her 60s or something. And then they find her. They hadn't had a murder in this town. It was in Alabama somewhere. They hadn't had a murder in this town since like the fucking 60s, right? It was like 1968 was the last one. And then this happened in fucking 2003, 2000. I don't remember when it was, but it was in the 2000s sometime. So this woman gets raped and beaten to death, like in the garage of her house. And they had like all these, like the fucking, she was like the city treasurer or something like that, but she had retired. And so they had like all these suspects. Like they thought for a little while, like the postmaster of the town, they thought they were having an affair and maybe he had done it because he was acting super sketchy. And then there was this truck driver who was acting really weird, who like kept revving his motor in front of her house, and she kept complaining about it. So they thought, well, maybe he got mad. But it turned out that it was the dude that lived across the street from her, like, and had lived there, and he had lived there his whole life. And, like, I don't know, like, he just was at a bar one night with his sort of on-again, off-again girlfriend who also worked at this bar. And they had some drinks, and they snorted some coke. And then he comes home, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to steal some money from that bitch. And then he goes in her house, and she pulls a gun on him, which was empty.
It wasn't loaded.
No, it wasn't loaded, unfortunately. She just shot his balls off.
She's one of those people that didn't keep their shit loaded.
Yeah, like, yeah, well, she just had a gun. Well, she was just trying to scare. Well, she knew him. He'd lived across the street from her his whole life.
Yeah. So this is something I want to tell you, people that don't come from gun cultures. If you got a gun, you keep that bitch fucking loaded. Because if you need to grab that shit, you won't have time to fucking load it. And she wasn't living, it's not like she was living with kids or anything. She was living on her own.
She lived it by herself.
If she had that gun loaded, she'd have saved her own life.
The thing about it, though, is that, the gun did scare him away initially, but then he was drunk and he was, like, super coked up.
Yeah.
And then he was kind of still hanging around outside the house. Like I said, he just lived, like, across the street or something. And then he saw her running out to her car in the garage, and he said, oh, my God, she's going to go and, like, report me to the police. And so he decided he had to do something about it. So he goes in there, and here's the weird thing. Like, he beat her to death. It was a horrible death. Like, she was beat the fuck up. But he raped her, too, but he wouldn't admit it.
Yeah, even though
he finally admitted beating her to death. Yeah. But he absolutely would not admit raping her, even though they know that he did because they found his fucking DNA.
Yeah, it was in her.
But for some reason, he just would not admit. I guess maybe because she was an old lady.
She was an old lady, so he didn't want anybody to know.
I mean, she wasn't old. She was 66. But I mean, you know what I mean?
She was older than him, and she looked old.
Yeah, I mean, she looked like an older. Yeah, she looked like an old retired housewife is what she looked like. So I think that he was embarrassed. Yeah. I guess. I'm just like, so you can beat someone to death and you'll admit that, but you won't admit. It's like, I just thought that was like fucking super weird. But see, that's what I mean. It's just kind of like that kind of shit fascinates me because it's like some motherfucker can live across the street from you like for decades. Yeah. And because they said that he had lived in that house his whole life. Like he was substantially younger than her, obviously. I think he was only in his 30s or 40s. But, and then he just decided one night, like she'd never had any problem with him before. Yeah. He just decided, you know what? I need some money. I'm just going to go rob her because I know she's got some money. And then that ended up happening, and then she's dead.
Yeah. Sabrina Morales says that she loves that fucking Star Trek Continuum Mirror episode. Said the dude who played Q was on it. I don't remember him being on it, but I guess he was. I gotta go see that again. I liked all the Mirror episodes, but fucking Star Trek Continues, man, that's real Star Trek. That's real Trek. And they're doing it in the motif of the original series, in that same format. The same lighting and everything, like Giallo lighting, colored lighting in the back. But Gene Roddenberry's son was involved in that. It was a fan-based fucking thing, but it had celebrities doing it. Okay, people that were related to the original show and fans of it. Had fucking Grant Imahara from fucking
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters was on it. He played Sulu. The dude that plays Kirk, he does a real good Kirk. I think the name is Todd Haberkorn, does Spock. He's kind of young for the role, but he does a good Spock. He does a real good Spock. Yeah, you get used to him real quick watching them. They're not the same actors, but they do a good job on all the characters. But Gene Roddenberry's son was involved in it. You know, he was like overseeing it and observing what they were doing, and he said that his dad would have loved all those episodes and would have approved them all. You know, so it's real Star Trek. Now, but I always liked the Mirror episodes though. The Enterprise fucking Mirror episode was great, man, because they showed, and it really doesn't have the same impact on you if you haven't watched the series, because you know all the characters in this universe, what they're like, and when you see them in the other universe, how different they are. You know, like they had one character, his name was fucking what was that? Malcolm was his name. He's kind of a nerdy tech kind of guy, British tech kind of guy in this universe. In the other universe, he was what was called a Mako, which were like a Marine, a space Marine. They were kind of like the SS, and they had a bunch of fucking military shit. He was this badass commando, fucking torturing people, part of their internal security and stuff, you know, using the agonizer booth on them. Talking shit. It's just funny how if you were to just see those episodes without knowing the normal characters, you wouldn't understand what they did. Just everybody was slightly opposite in a way in it. They were the same character, but just under like a third world version of them. Even fucking Phlox was different. He was a fucking kind of a perv who was trying to be. He was trying to be. His species was all kind of like fucking pansexual. You know what I mean? They had multiple partners and shit. But he wasn't allowed to do that in the Terran Empire. They made them all fucking be monogamous. But he just and that fucks him up in the story. But you know, it's just a good story. You know.
SideQuest Hero said every time someone says Amadeus, I just think of that '90s song. That was not a '90s song. That was the '80s.
'80s,
yeah. If you're thinking that was '84.
Rock Me Amadeus '80s. Yeah.
Rock Me Amadeus was 1984. We both remember when that came out.
Yeah.
1984. I remember when that came on MTV, actually. But yeah, that was 80s. Let's see. Ira says, random thing here. Art the Clown is creepy. Seeing the trailers alone makes my skin crawl, I guess, of the Terrifier movies. Can't see that, or the It movies. Anything with clown main characters is a no for me. Which I get that a lot of people do have clown phobia. I don't. I actually kind of like the Terrifier movies. Not my favorite thing, but, you know, they're fun. They're gory. We just reviewed Terrifier 3 not too long ago, actually. A couple weeks back. So we saw it in the theater. Burley says, have you seen Real Murders on Elm Street on Max? Pretty good. That, you know what? It came up in my recommendations, so I might watch that next, like, after I finish this series. You know what I mean? I'm slowly working my way through all the true... Because, you know, you watch one and then they recommend all the other ones, and there's a million. There's seemingly, like, endless true crime series, because everybody likes the shit as much as I do, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, Ira said, something about, Clown House they're talking about. And then Ira said, got me interested, and I'm just not as exposed to watching movies with mostly horror, mainly watch some stuff with horror elements. Yeah, it's just kind of like... I don't know. I guess I've been watching horror pretty much my whole life, like as long as I can remember. When I was a little kid, I didn't start watching horror movies until I was maybe... this is going to sound bad. 7? Until I was maybe 7 or 8. But even before that, all I wanted to do was like watch scary shit. I think I just popped out the womb like that. I'm not really sure like how that happened, because my parents are not into horror at all. And I think it was kind of funny to them because they didn't like tell me I couldn't watch it. I mean, they let me watch it, but they just thought, they were like, huh, isn't that interesting? Where did that come from? They had no idea where that came from because they were not into it. So I think they thought it was funny that I was like so into it from like a really early age. Even when I was little, like before I could even really watch horror movies, like as soon as I learned to read, all I wanted to read was like ghost stories and like shit about witches and stuff like that. I don't know. Like I said, it's just like in my fucking DNA. So it's like, and they were cool about letting me watch horror movies. They were like, yeah, it's okay. She'll be all right. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was watching The Shining when I'm like really young and all this other kind of stuff. It scared the shit out of me, but it's all right. I got over it. I got over it. And that's still one of my favorite movies of all time. I can watch, honestly, The Shining is probably the movie that I've watched more times than any other movie. I think I've seen that more times. Maybe, well, that's maybe not true. I think I've seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show more because I used to go see it every weekend at the theater. But I think The Shining is definitely up there for as many times as I've seen it. You know?
That one doesn't get old watching, though.
It just doesn't get old. Like I said, every single time I watch it, there's like a new dimension. You find a new angle on it. That's what's so awesome about that fucking movie. Here's another thing that's funny. So I think I said before that like a couple of the guys that I work with they're a lot younger than I am. They're like in their 30s. And so they haven't seen like a lot of horror movies. And they're not super into horror either. So it's just, since it was Halloween and we were doing like a lot of these ads that were based around horror movies, we were talking about it, and like one of them said, oh, like for Halloween I watched The Thing, and they'd never seen it before, and he's like, man, what a great fucking movie. I'm like, I've told you, it's like one of the best movies ever made. And so, but the thing, and I was telling this to my brother the other day, I was like, here's the sad shit, is that one of the ads that I did, because he's like, well, can we do something like kind of for a niche horror audience that like horror people would get, but like maybe not necessarily. I'm just like, oh, I'm your person. So, and I do ads for like car dealerships. So I said, what's the first thing I think of when I think of Halloween and car? I think of Christine, right? I mean, that's what most people would think of, the Stephen King novel and movie. So I did an ad based around that. Like I had like a Christine type car with like this zombie greaser kind of thing. And they thought that was like so cool. And then, but neither of them had seen it. And then one of them said, oh, I think my mom talked about that movie. And I was like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, oh my God. Because I was like, dude, Stephen King. It's a Stephen King novel.
Did he go see it?
I don't think he's seen it yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, the movie came out. It's John Carpenter. I was like, it's John Carpenter. Yeah. I don't even think they knew who John Carpenter was.
Yeah, probably not.
And I was just kind of like, oh my God. It's like, see, that's the thing. It's like, and that's another thing too, is that everybody that I know and then everybody that I hang out with, you can just say John Carpenter. Everybody knows who John Carpenter is. But I forget that normie people and people that are like younger and normie don't know who John Carpenter is.
Victor,
that kind of bums me out.
If you like the Shining movie, read the book. You'd like the book too.
The book is a lot different, but in a lot of ways, I mean, this is a pretty well-known story. Stephen King really did not like Stanley Kubrick's version, but I would argue...
Oh, fuck him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I mean, the book is awesome.
The book is awesome.
They're two completely different things, though. I mean, Kubrick took his book and did his own thing with it, and I would argue that he made it more... mythic. He made it scarier. Mythic?
Yeah.
He made it scarier.
Yeah.
I think the movie is way scarier than the book.
Yeah, you see, here's the deal. The movie it's the same story.
Yeah, essentially.
But the thing is that in the movie you're only seeing it from the point of view basically of what Wendy would have known and what she saw. You don't know all the other backstory. You don't know everything that fucking Jack was doing and what he was seeing. You see some of what Jack was seeing. You know, like the bartender and the house talking to him and the fucking woman in the tub. It explains all that. You don't get everything. The movie doesn't give you everything about what Danny was experiencing, especially with Tony. Because Tony's the main character in the book. One of the main characters.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's just the imaginary boy that lives in his mouth.
Yeah.
In the book, he's his psychic alter ego.
Yeah.
And fucking...
well, it's like him when he's older.
Yeah, it's an older version of him who's fucking looking out for him and shit. Because Danny's got the Shining, he's psychic. And Tony is him, though. He sees Tony. Images of Tony. Tony tells him things, shows him things. A lot of it's symbolic, though. Halloran, you find out more about Halloran. So it's still the same story. It's just not as much information. Now, if you want to see that on the screen, the whole book, the mini-series is just like the book.
Yeah.
But it's not very good. A lot of people don't like it because...
I don't like it at all.
Because
Gareth directed it.
Yeah. Because the story that the book tells isn't as it's
like
not,
I said, it's not...
It's not very scary if you see it. If you know it, if you knew everything that was going on, you wouldn't be as scared. But the thing is that the book is pretty scary. The book the book is creepy.
But those are two different mediums.
Yeah, different mediums.
Here's the thing. Oh my God, you guys, this just reminded me, and this was like a couple weeks ago, and I meant to bring this up before and I didn't. If any of you guys are subscribed to Dominic Noble, who I love him, and he does, his main thing is like, it's called Lost in Adaptation, where he does like really long breakdowns, like comparing books to movies, right? And he did one about, he did one about It. The more recent one, like comparing the book to the recent movie. And he said something really insightful, which was kind of what I was trying to get at, but I think he articulated it better than me, and I'm sure I'm going to fuck this up because I've had a couple of drinks. But he's like, here's the reason why I think that he's like, Stephen King books don't always make great movies. He's like, because Stephen King and even scary ones. He's like, Stephen King's books are not about the monster. They're about fear. He's like, Stephen King's books, because he writes characters so well and you're inside those characters' heads, the monster could be anything. It's like, it could be a haunted car. It could be, but because you're inside that dude's head and he's so good at writing that, then he will also make you scared of it. Yeah. In the movie, they have to show the monster, and a lot of times the monster is ridiculous. You know what I mean? So when you show that on screen, like hedge animals moving around, it looks ridiculous. Or like a hose with teeth on it. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. In a book, it's scary because you're just imagining it, and you're seeing it from a point of view of somebody that's seeing it, and they're scared of it. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, but when you see it in a movie, you're just like, that's fucking dumb. I'm not scared of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think he hit it right on the head. I was like, that is exactly what I was trying to articulate about why his books are scary and a lot of movies made of his shit is not scary.
Now, Victor, if you can get through all the way through It, that's a big ass book. If you can get through It, you can get through The Shining easy. It's not as big as book. Yeah, actually, his biggest book that I remember reading was The Stand. I loved that book.
Yeah, that's a chunker for sure.
And I liked the TV series.
Yeah, it was pretty good, actually.
Good yeah, a fan sent us a remastered version of the TV miniseries. It's really good. And like I said, the TV miniseries of The Shining is accurate to the book. But it's not as good as the movie, and it's not as good as the book, really.
It's very faithful to the book.
Very faithful, yeah.
But that's why it doesn't work.
Yeah, because Halloran lives in the book.
He does, yeah. He doesn't die.
And then Phantom was mentioning Dr. Sleep. We saw Dr. Sleep in the theater, and I liked it. But then I went and bought the Blu-ray and watched the extended director's cut, and it's even better.
Honestly, I can say Dr. Sleep...
Dr. Sleep's a good sequel.
I liked the movie better than the book, and I don't usually say that about Stephen King shit, because usually the book is better other than The Shining.
In case anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, in The Shining, the little boy, Danny, he grows up to be Dr. Sleep. And it's him as an adult. He's got The Shining still. He's psychic. He got the name because he was working in a fucking old folks home, and he'd help people die.
Hospice care.
Hospice care. He's helping people die. So they called him Dr. Sleep. It comes to his attention that there's psychic vampires.
Yeah.
They don't drink blood, but they drink souls. They're just like vampires. Somebody mentioned how hot Rose the Hat is. One of our friends looks just like her. I was going to say,
our friend Laura
looks exactly like her.
Spookily like that woman.
Just like that, yeah.
Because we even saw that movie.
Like, that looks like Laura. Yeah.
It looks exactly like her.
Yeah.
She looks exactly like her.
And, but Dr. Sleep, the uncut director's cut is fucking really good. And it ends up that fucking Danny realizes that the best thing he could do is go back to the Overlook Hotel. Because if he was in there, he'd be what was it? He could destroy it. He could destroy him in the Overlook, right? Or he was hiding his own presence from him.
Something.
They were coming from him. I have to go see it again. But when he goes to the Overlook, it's abandoned because in the book it wasn't destroyed. It was still there in the book.
No, in the book it was destroyed. In the book he blew it up. In Kubrick's movie, it wasn't destroyed. In the book, he blew it up at the end. Remember the boiler exploded?
Okay. Yeah, I guess it did.
In the book, it was destroyed at the end.
It wasn't totally destroyed, though, because remember, Danny goes back to it.
I know, but in Kubrick's movie...
In Kubrick's movie, it was...
Because Dr. Sleep... cool thing about Dr. Sleep, which was Mike Flanagan, who's awesome...
Yeah, in the book...
He tried to integrate...
Yeah.
Both the novel and Kubrick's movie.
Okay.
And I think he did that really successfully.
Okay. All right.
Honestly, I was going to say that like the Dr. Sleep movie, I liked that better than Stephen King's book, which I don't usually say.
Now, in the Dr. Sleep book, was the Overlook still there?
You know what? I don't think it was.
Okay. All right.
Because that was movie. I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I've read Dr. Sleep. I did read it. But because the Overlook was destroyed at the end of The Shining, the book, the end of Dr. Sleep, the novel, as far as I remember, was completely different.
Yeah, in the movie...
Like, they had a conflict, but it was, like, at a different location.
In the movie at Dr. Sleep, he goes back to the fucking...
Right.
To the Overlook. And it looks just like it did in the fucking old Kubrick movie. Except it's fucking run down and kind of abandoned and real dark. And he sees ghosts in there. It's pretty fucking bizarre. And remember in the gold room in the old Shining movie, Jack Torrance talks to Lloyd. Lloyd's the bartender, and he's basically representing the Overlook Hotel. He's the spirit of the Overlook. When Danny goes there in Dr. Sleep, he goes into the fucking gold room. And instead of Lloyd standing there as the bartender, it's his dad, Jack.
Yeah.
Jack's now the fucking bartender, and he's representing... It's fucking weird. And they got a dude that played Jack Torrance. He does a fucking great job.
Yeah, that was the same guy. Like Mike Flanagan works with him a lot. Yeah. He was the same guy that played young Norman Bates.
Okay.
In Psycho 4.
Okay.
And he was also in Haunting of Hill House. He was in a bunch of Mike Flanagan stuff.
He does a great.
So that's the same actor.
He does a great Jack Torrance without doing a fucking
an impression
of fucking Jack Nicholson. But you can tell that that's the same.
That's who it's supposed to be.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, in Doctor Sleep, the scene where the psychic vampires capture that little baseball kid who was the same kid that was in Good Boys. You remember that movie? I don't remember anything. That movie was funny. Yeah, we saw it in the theater actually. But that movie was funny as shit. And that kid he's in a lot of stuff. But the scene where they captured that kid and were like sucking his soul out and he's like screaming and said, "Oh my god, that was one of the most horrifying fucking scenes." Oh my god, it was horrifying. Yeah. I couldn't fucking believe they put that shit in there. But yeah, it was just, oh my god, it was horrible. That kid was like screaming. They killed that fucking kid. Because I guess I was surprised because
drank his soul. They
don't really kill kids in big mainstream movies.
They did much, that one.
But in that one, holy crap.
Yeah.
That was something. That scene, I was just kind of like, wow, they went there. Okay, like I respect that, but it was really upsetting. I thought that was a really good movie, and honestly, I don't know. Maybe I should read you the book one of these days. I have it. I liked the movie better than the book, honestly. The book is similar, but like I said, the ending is slightly different because obviously it doesn't take place at the Overlook because the Overlook was destroyed at the end of the Shining book, but not in the movie.
Here's our friend Laura that looks just like Rose the Hat.
Yeah, see? I told you.
Got the hat and everything.
Every time I see her, I'm just like... I mean, mostly in Dr. Sleep because she had the hat and everything.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of her. When we went to see Dr. Sleep in the theater, I was like, oh my god, it's Laura.
Yeah. It looks just like her.
It looks just like her. She looks just like her. But yeah. So funny. Yeah, Henry Thomas. That's his name. Thank you. SideQuest says, did you guys ever watch The Bates Motel? Yeah, honestly, I think, was it Oracle? One of you guys, I think it was Oracle, sent me the whole entire Bates Motel series. And I actually I haven't got all the way through it yet. Like, I watched the first season and part of the second season, and then I got distracted, as I do. But eventually, I'm going to watch the whole fucking series. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's really, really good. I really like that series. Talking about The Stand is still my all-time favorite book. Honestly, like, if I had to pick a favorite Stephen King, because I've read most of his shit. If I had to pick a favorite Stephen King book, I like a lot of his short stories, honestly, but, so I like a lot of his short story compilations, but if I have to pick a favorite novel...
I'd say The Stand.
I think Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary is my favorite Stephen King novel, just because of how fucking nihilistic it is. You know what I mean? Like, I read it when I was in high school, and I was just kind of like, man, this is fucking dark. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I was into it. But, I mean, all of his shit's good. And honestly, like, some more of his recent shit, if you guys saw my review that I put up, it's probably like a few months ago now, but several months ago, that I put up of one of his more recent books, which was Revival, which I hadn't even heard of. I just found it in, like, a used bookstore, and I was just kind of like, what the fuck? I didn't even hear of this one. And I bought, like, they had the hardback for, like, $5, and I was just like, okay. And I read it, and I was like, this is fucking great. And I think it came out in 2014, 2015, something like that. So it's it's not that recent, but it's, like, fairly recent. And it was kind of like, it was giving me, like, Frankenstein vibes, and I was just like, ooh, and kind of like Ray Bradbury kind of vibes. And I was just like, yeah, man, I'm into that. And so I haven't kept up because he writes so much. I just can't keep up with it all. But honestly, of all his classic shit is good. But I think Pet Sematary made the biggest impact on me. Like I said, just because of how fucked up it is, like how nihilistic it is. Like, yeah, we're gonna kill some fucking kids and we're gonna, like, bring them back from the dead and we're just, you know what I mean? It was so fucked up. And I was kind of into it. The movie's okay. Like, the movie adaptation is all right. The Mary Herron one. The remake was also all right. but I didn't love it. But I mean, the book is, man, I really liked that book. I'm not as into The Stand as a lot of other people are. I think it's because I'm not a super huge fan of apocalyptic horror. Like, I like some of it, but it's not, I don't know, a lot of it seems like really samey to me.
All right, well, look, Tammy says that the Dark Tower needs to be done as a series. I'd
It
agree.
does, yeah.
It's got to be pretty close to the book. And then SideQuest is asking us if we ever watch Bates Motel.
Yeah, I said about that.
Yeah,
Oracle, I think it was Oracle sent us the whole series.
And I think we got through maybe like 1 or 2 seasons.
We got through the first season, which is fantastic, and then part of the second season, and then we got distracted.
We'll go back and watch it.
But I got to go back and watch the whole. And in
was
fact,
good.
I should probably just start it over.
Yeah, because I kind of forgot everything.
Because I kind of forgot everything.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. Yeah, Burley says Dreamcatcher was a good book. Movie was poop. Yeah, honestly, I didn't love the Dreamcatcher, but it's a good book because, like I said, Stephen King. If it's a novel, you can get away with a lot in a novel because people aren't seeing it in front of their face. You know what I mean? If you're writing a book, as Dreamcatcher was, about like an alien thing that basically like goes up your ass, like that's, which I'm not being facetious, that does happen in the book. So it's like ass weasels, right?
Ass weasels.
Yeah, they're like weaselly kind of alien things that go up your butt.
I didn't know anything.
What is this? Dreamcatcher.
I've never read that one.
I'm not making that up. That actually does happen.
Victor, if you like apocalyptic horror, you'd like The Stand. Yeah.
He's read The Stand.
What's that?
He's read The Stand.
He's read it? Okay. All right. Yeah. It's about a fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
It hits and wipes everybody out except certain people.
It depends.
And that's
I'm just
good
kind of
versus
like
evil after that. The devil comes back and the fucking, I guess God tries to fucking come back. It's like a messiah. It's kind of like a different version of fucking, what was that fucking Christian fucking...
What, Left Behind?
What's that? Left Behind. Kind of like Left Behind,
Oh my
but
God.
fucking better. A lot better.
Well, yeah.
Christians can't write their own shit, really.
That's right. It really doesn't come out good.
Because they're afraid of not being canonical.
Yeah,
So
they have
can't
too
be-
many guardrails.
Too many guardrails, yeah.
I think is probably what
Yeah.
the problem was.
Like, oh, the scripture doesn't say that. But
So we
scripture
can't
doesn't say
do
much
that.
of
It's
anything.
like, man, come on.
Just fucking make the story.
Loosen up.
Yeah.
Just make it a good story. That's all you gotta do. Burley says, have you guys heard the Wendy theory? Yes.
Which one's that?
The one about the... Oh, shit, man. Now I can't remember all the details. But I watched a video about this like a couple months ago. Because I love The Shining, and I will watch like conspiracy theory shit about it like all day long.
What is the Wendy theory?
It's, okay. I can't remember if I'm remembering this right. Now I don't even want to say because it's just like, what if I get it wrong? I'll probably get it wrong.
So you don't remember what the Wendy theory
I don't
was?
really remember what it is,
Okay.
but it's like I watched a video about it a little while back, and I remember watching it and it being like, it seemed like kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you've seen Room 237, which is the documentary about all the conspiracy theories about The Shining, which is actually good, like it's really interesting, but most of those theories are completely batshit.
Yeah.
They're reaching. Although, I will note that Kubrick, when he made that movie, he absolutely knew what he was doing, and he put a bunch of shit in there. So some of the stuff, I'm just kind of like, yeah, he did mean that, but some of the stuff is just like way far out.
There's too many like Kubrick conspiracy theories. All right. Yeah, he has stuff in there, but it's not as much as some people are reading it. A good example would be 2001: A Space Odyssey. I've seen some fucking wild ass fucking theories of what that movie meant. Well, if you want to know what that movie meant, fucking read the book. It's right there. Fucking Arthur C. Clarke fucking tells you what it's about. It's what they call a von Neumann probe. It's a self-replicating probe that's fucking spread out through the entire universe, and it's fucking doing things like trying to find places where life can grow and to grow life. It's like a gardener. It's trying to make sure that life grows. That's all the monolith was. It didn't represent the movie screen. Like, well, you see, it was the same aspect of a theater screen. No, it was a von Neumann probe. That's what it was. Clarke basically spells it out in the book. An AI von Neumann probe, which is a theoretical thing. That Even if you can't reach the space of, if you cannot reach the speed of light, and you wanted to colonize a galaxy, if you had a probe that could replicate itself, within a few million years, it would be everywhere in the universe if they could replicate themselves. And that's what they did. And you wouldn't even need to break the speed of light. It would just smear itself around inside the universe, replicating, splitting in half over and over and over again. So there's trillions and trillions of them. And they're AI, and they're moving slowly, and they're doing stuff. It's like a 3D printer, but it's at a molecular level. It's real super high, the ultimate expression of technology. That's what it is. And it's godlike. Because it's creating life. In this case, in 2001.
Full Metal Nosferatu says the metal band Anthrax, yeah, we know them, are huge Stephen King and David Lynch fans and have written songs based on their work. Yeah, I'm not super into Anthrax, but, you know, that might make me want to, because I'm also a huge Stephen King and a huge David Lynch fan. David Lynch is my favorite living director, for sure. Burley says the Wendy theory, basically that Wendy is crazy and that she's imagining everything and the movie is secretly from her point of view. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Which, okay, I can see where you're coming, like, I could see where the video was coming from, because Kubrick chose, wisely, I think, to make the Shining movie just what basically she would have seen. Although they do some shit that Jack would have seen, and like, so it's not entirely from her point of view, but he was trying to make it, he took out all the exposition, which I think was wise. It works in a book, not so much in a movie. He was just showing what it would be like if you were a family that moved into this hotel and you didn't know anything about the history of it, and then you just started seeing all this shit without any context, which, like I said, is a lot scarier. You know what I mean? In the book, they explain everything. They explain who the woman in the tub is. They explain, like, everything that's gone on in all of the rooms. And to me, like, it works in a book. In a movie, it's not scary.
What I picked up out of the movie that I didn't really get from the book, in other words, what I think some of the innovation I think Kubrick did in the movie was the genesis of the Overlook. It says in the movie that while they were building it, they had to fucking repel several Indian attacks. Mm-hmm. And then once they got the thing built, you had the world's most powerful people. They said all the best people, presidents and everything, would go to this place. Then you find out that, yeah, but a lot of bad shit happened there. Mm-hmm. Okay. What I got from, and then the inside, the way it's decorated, there's a whole bunch of Native American decor and stuff, which was popular in that time frame, in that place out in the West. Because, you know, fucking, it was like that sequoia and redwood up in California. But I think what they're talking about is they're talking about rich industrialists trying to make a pleasure resort. They put it on either hallowed ground or fucking cursed ground. And the Indians tried to save them, I think, to get them off that ground.
Yeah, it's like, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to build on that ground. That ground's bad. And then when they built that there, you had all these fucking potentates and fucking powerful people that inadvertently sometimes, and sometimes on purpose, do bad shit. So the place starts to gel. It starts to become a fucking place where bad mojo happens, and it gets worse and worse over time.
Yeah.
So they've accidentally built a temple of doom, basically. Mm. And it has its own personality. And it's trying to capture souls to be slaves to it, just to magnify its own power. So they built an evil temple.
Yeah. Whether it, inadvertently or
I think it was
on purpose.
I think it was by accident.
Probably.
I think they just wanted to build it where that land was, and the Indians said, no, not that land. That place is fucking bad. We tried to warn you,
but you just killed us, so.
Right, yeah. And then they started going there, and they're sending powerful people there who did bad shit, and it just starts feeding it. Yeah. And it got worse and worse over time. It was like a dark spiritual vortex.
Well, see, that's the cool thing about the Shining movie, though, is that I think that Kubrick instinctively knew, because he made movies in every genre, essentially. So he's making a horror movie, and he instinctively knew horror is much scarier when you leave shit ambiguous. Yeah. Don't explain shit. Don't put shit in context, because it's much scarier if you can't explain it. So in the book, everything is explained, and it's scary in the book because you're just building it in your head. You're imagining it. But when you see it on the screen, that's a completely different thing. So I think it was wise to just not explain anything. We're not explaining who that lady in the tub is. We're not explaining what's going on. We're just showing you what would happen if you were a family that moved in here and you just saw this stuff and you didn't know what was going on. That's much, much scarier because you don't have anything to grasp onto. You don't know what this is or why this is happening. And like I said, that's a lot scarier.
Yeah, and the beginning of the story for me was always they went to go build on that piece of land and the Indians tried to stop that. So that tells you that the Indians knew something about that land.
Yeah, they're like, don't
build there. That place is evil. That's what, or it's off limits to you. But I think, you know what I mean? You always say, well, that's our burial ground or whatever. I don't think that's what it was in this case. I think the Indians were trying to warn them. There's evil spirits there. Don't, that place is bad. Don't interfere with
dumbass white people.
You'll make it worse. Yeah. You'll make it worse if you go in there. And that's probably what it was.
Full Metal Nosferatu says, Jenny, did y'all see a Forbidden Orange documentary on Max? It even talked about Murder in a Blue World, aka A Clockwork Terror. No, I haven't seen that yet, but it is it's on my list. It comes up in my recommendation, so I probably will watch that. SideQuest says, you know what conspiracy internet mythology that creeps me out a lot is the backrooms liminal space. Yeah, I saw a lot of shit about that because I really like that analog horror kind of shit, and that backroom shit was real big.
SideQuest is talking about fucking that she thought that worst thing Ridley Scott did was try to explain the engineers. I'm going to disagree. Because the original story that Scott was trying to tell was really cool, but that studio cut that story all up. I saw the original script. They had whole videos. That shit got leaked, and there was whole videos of what that original script was going to be. It was going to be badass about the engineers. But they weren't going to have that because it involved Space Jesus. That Jesus was an emissary. That the engineers had sent somebody down there to tell them these humans how to behave, but they killed it.
Fucked it up.
They fucked it up.
As usual.
And they didn't want that in there. But no, I would say no, leave that in there. Because what they're talking about is the Anunnaki. Kind of. The Anunnaki.
Yeah, that's where he got
that's what they're talking about, Anunnaki. Which, that's a fucking badass story, man. Let's tell that story. The engineers gave up their ability to reproduce in exchange for immortality. But one by one, they died anyway, because accidents and shit like that, So they couldn't reproduce themselves. Well, they had a certain way, an alien that they contacted somehow crossbred with one of them, and a child was born that they called the Deacon. And it looks like a xenomorph, according to the statues. And it could speak. It was a fucking leader of theirs. They saved some of its blood when it died. And fucking from its blood, they could create new things. It was like biotech. They could create life on other planets. And they were trying to recreate a version of themselves that could reproduce. That could be male and female. But every time they got it done, it wasn't quite perfect. And we were one of the experiments that failed. They said that we were corrupted, genetically corrupted, too much evil. So they were going to wipe us out. But it caused a war in between the Anunnaki. And the attack ship never arrived here. Until they met Wayland, and that one said, okay, yeah, I guess I do have to wipe him out. And he fucking tried to deliver him, but he got stopped. But, and it was because mankind was becoming technological, that's not what the engineers wanted. They wanted you to stay biological. They didn't want AI or robots. Well, it was like an abomination.
Shouldn't have made humans intelligent then. Zach gave us another super chat. Man, he is a big spender.
What's up, Zach? Yeah, Zach's the only one tipping. What's up, Zach?
He also says, talking about The Shining, I'm assuming, it's also interesting how scary it is, but a lot of the scenes are in brightly lit and colorful rooms.
Yeah.
See, to me, that just shows how fucking genius that movie is, because that is scary as shit, and all of the shit that happens is just like, it's not in darkness. They're not, and I'm not shitting on movies that just rely on darkness for scariness, because darkness is scary, right? But it's just kind of like, it's much harder to make a scary movie that happens in daylight. And if you can do that effectively, like, the first thing that came to my mind was like Midsommar, which happened entirely, like almost entirely in daylight, and was pretty fucking scary. You have my mad respect, because that is much harder to do. It's easy to do darkness. Everybody's scared of the dark, right? I mean, you can't see shit. It's just like, it's inherently scary.
Yeah.
So if you actually go, it's like, I'm going to make the whole thing like in fucking daylight and still make it scary, then holy shit, then you've really fucking done something there. But yeah, so Camp Guy says, my favorite Kubrick movies are Clockwork Orange and Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, Clockwork Orange...
Eyes Wide Shut is fun to watch.
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut is not my favorite Kubrick movie by a long shot. A Clockwork Orange is probably one of my favorite movies. Yeah, not probably. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Of all time. It's definitely top 10. I love that fucking movie. Yeah. And honestly, that's another case where... Because I've read the book, too, several times. Where I think that Kubrick... The book is great. Don't get me wrong. But I think Kubrick improved upon the book by leaving out the last chapter. Because if you've read the book, Alex, the main character of A Clockwork Orange, in the last chapter, he actually like grows up and realizes what a shithead he was. And it's kind of a whole thing. And it's just I kind of liked the movie being a little more, I don't want to say nihilistic. It wasn't exactly nihilistic, but it's just kind of like almost kind of leaving it ambiguous as to what was going to happen with that, because he was just kind of like, I don't know. I kind of feel like in the book, the message of the book was diluted by making him grow out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it diluted the message of it a little bit, because the whole point of the book was free will, right? It was just kind of like, well, this person is obviously a horrible person. Alex is obviously a horrible person, but it's just kind of like, is it better for us to make him behave a certain way, or for him to have free will and like choose to, like, is it better to just force people to be good, or should they choose good of their own volition? And so it's just kind of like, I kind of feel like making him grow out of his shit at the end of the book, as the last chapter did, I think diluted the message of the book a bit. Yeah. Whereas I kind of feel like Kubrick, when he made the movie, kind of understood it more, and he kind of leaned more into that, like leaving it more ambiguous, I guess.
Let me respond to SideQuest. All right, SideQuest. Yeah, SideQuest says that she didn't really like the newer Prometheus type movies because they killed the mystery of the xenomorph. The thing about the xenomorph, man, is when you go back in time to see what H.R. Giger was working on and what they originally worked on for the Alien 1 movie, it wasn't that complicated. They didn't call it a xenomorph. They called it a biomechanoid. That's what Giger called it. Living machine man. And in his version of where it came from, is it was something that grew in a toxic waste dump that was millions of years old underneath a fucking an industrial civilization that had covered an entire planet for millions of years. And down in there was a damn evolution. And the biomechanoid came out of there. That was one of the early versions of what that was. And then he goes on to say that the ship that they made was more like a bomber. And the biomechanoids were in those eggs, and they were kind of like the bombs. So he's saying that it was a bioweapon. Now, if you look at H.R. Giger's fucking work, it was highly sexual. Everything about his drawings was this weird fucking... Everything was copulation and fucking vaginal openings and fucking phallic-looking stuff. The biomechanoid was very sexual. It killed you by crossbreeding with you, kind of like the way a damn wasp would. It would basically rape you and leave an egg in you. And then another one would be born out of you, and it was related to you. Okay? So it crossbred with you. And the very early ideas is that the ship that they found in Alien 1 was a fucking bomber, basically. Designed to destroy something. But there's no details given. And if you go back and look at the old movie, is that there was... The company knew about it, knew about a signal that came from it, that was a warning. So the company, the Wayland, or was it Wayland? Wayland Company? Yeah, Wayland, right? The Wayland Company knew about it. So it had been dealing with it before. And it diverted the ship to go and try to get those eggs. Now, when I was a kid, back when that movie came out, I bought the animated comic of it that was based on the original script. And in that comic, this is back in the 70s, in that comic, when they find that fucking engineer inside that seat, inside that ship, what's his name? Kane? Kane finds a fucking Earth-made, human-made transmitter that was transmitting that fucking warning thing, and he fucking turned it off. So that means that they weren't the first people to be there. But the thing is, that wasn't in the movie. It was in the script, though, and it ended up in that comic. It was an illustrated novel. It was real good. It was big. And it was pretty graphic. My dad bought it for me. He got it from B. Dalton Bookstore, I remember, out in fucking California.
We had a B. Dalton in our mall in Daytona.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved the comic, too. And it had a bunch of details that were in the script that were left out of the movie.
I've just been informed by CB that Tony Todd just died.
Yeah, it's about time. Poor Todd.
Candyman.
Yeah. He's a good actor.
Man, that dude's fucking... Victor says he's eating bees in heaven now.
Yeah.
Oh. God damn it, man. We're so fucking old.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Yeah, it happens to everybody. Phantom says R.I.P. Ben from the best version of Night of the Living Dead. I'm assuming you're talking about the 1990 version.
Yeah.
The Tom Savini directed one. Which actually was really good. I still like the original one better, but honestly, the 1990 one was pretty fucking good.
But what I wanted to clear up with fucking side quests before I forget. The thing about aliens, man, is everybody's fucking really interested in that xenomorph and where that came from. You don't really want to know because it'll destroy.
I told you, man, horror is a lot better.
Yeah, it's better not to know.
When you just like leave it.
Yeah.
Don't explain it too much.
Yeah, I really didn't think the xenomorphs were that
lame.
I don't think the xenomorphs are that interesting. Everything that you could do with them's been done in the Alien versus Predator fucking franchise. When those things, there's a lot of extra shit in there that was really cool. That's really all you need to know. It's just a weird ass alien creature that is a living machine man, which I guess is why the androids were so fascinated with it. Because I think they realized that, well, it wasn't biological in terms of like it wasn't carbon based, it was silicone based. So I think a lot of the androids saw it as a highly evolved android that was alive. So I guess that's why they were so stunned by it.
Victor gave us a super chat.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Good show tonight. Thank you very much. Yeah, that fucking... Oh, man. That bums me out so much. Yeah, and Tammy said he was only 69.
Yeah.
What did he die of?
Got sick, maybe.
Fuck, man. That blows.
Yeah.
That put me in a bad mood. No, I mean, not really, but like fucking Jesus. Yeah, SideQuest here said, even that there's something about cosmic horror that really gets its foundation from what is unknown and can't be understood, has motivations we can't really fathom. Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people initially really connected with, like, you know, H.P. Lovecraft's work and stuff like that, because, you know, it's a lot scarier to me if the monster in your story, you don't really know what their deal is. You don't know why they came here. You don't know why they're fucking with you. You don't know, you know what I mean? And you never know. That to me is like a lot scarier. Like if you over explain it, it's not scary anymore. That's why I kind of feel like a lot of horror sequels are not good, because it's like, well, by necessity, they're like, well, we have to expand the lore or whatever. So that usually, entails them over explaining like, hey, we have to give the killer a backstory, or we have to make Michael Myers supernatural, or whatever the fuck. And it's just kind of like, that's just, you're diminishing the mystery. If you diminish the mystery, it's not really scary anymore. First Halloween, super scary. You didn't know what that dude was like. He was just some escaped mental patient that probably maybe was the epitome of evil or the boogeyman or whatever, but it wasn't really explained. But then, like, as the movies went on, they tried to add all this lore, and I was just kind of like, just leave it. Just leave it.
All right. Higgins has asked me why Weyland-Yutani was interested in that. Why would they send untrained fucking scientists and shit? Okay. Yeah, I saw that complaint, but they're thinking of it through fucking the eyes of a regular civilian, where you think that this is a mission and you got to have professional people on it that to get this mission done to find this one. That's not what Weyland-Yutani wanted. The geologist and all those dudes were the worst ones they could possibly pick on purpose, because they weren't in charge of the mission. They were the test subjects. They were going to fucking test for human experimentation. Then the two people that had the theory, remember fucking what's her name and her boyfriend who had the theory, they were going to get rid of them because they were the witnesses. Once they killed them, fucking Weyland-Yutani would have a patent on that technology. That's what they wanted.
Well, they just wanted suckers to go up there and check that shit out, because they weren't going to do it.
Who is actually in charge of the mission is David, the android. And then the fucking woman played by, what was her name? Fucking, the blonde chick. She played fucking...
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, Charlize Theron. I forgot the name of that character. She was the other one in charge. And she wasn't a human either. She was a fucking replicant. She was a replicant. Like out of fucking Blade Runner. That's why she called him father. It wasn't her father, really. She was a living thing that he made out of genetic material. So they were in charge of it. That's why they were in such fighting over this shit. And, she didn't really think it was a big deal. But they wanted that technology. Because it was how to make life. And how to make people immortal. That's what they wanted. See, I never thought the xenomorphs were that interesting. In that same script from the first one, how it was explained, David can read all the glyphs on all the fucking walls. And in the original script, he says that one of their engineers got impregnated by an alien, and what came out was a thing called a deacon, which was a hybrid between the two, and it could speak, and it was a spiritual leader to them. But it ended up dying. And out of its blood could be fucking used to seed new life on new planets. And they were trying to remake engineers, but in male and female form, so they could reproduce on their own. But it didn't work. Well, it didn't work all the time. And they eventually ran out of that blood. So they made a synthetic copy of the blood using biotechnology, which was the black goo that you're seeing in those vials. And that black goo, you can drop it anywhere, and any DNA that it comes across, it tears it apart and reorganizes it into a new life form and accelerates evolution. And they were trying to regrow engineers on other planets. In the second one, David shows up in the damn bomber, and you see what looks like a bunch of engineers fucking seeing it arriving, and he fucking kills them all. But if you look closely, those aren't engineers. They're just another experiment on humans, because they're male and female in there. The engineers were only male, and they were sterile males. So there must be more engineers out there, and other planets out there with humanoids on them.
Phantom says, the 1990 Night of the Living Dead scared the hell out of me as a kid. It's on my top 5 films that scared me as a kid. The others are Return of the Living Dead, People Under the Stairs, The Gate, and The Pet Cemetery 2. I don't even remember Pet Cemetery 2. The Gate is fucking great, though. And People Under the Stairs is also great. Full Metal Nosferatu says, the new movie I'm acting in is heavily influenced by Lovecraft. It's not based on one of his stories, though, but it's like kind of Lovecraftian. That's pretty awesome. And SideQuest says, it's like saying never explain your magic trick, because then it's not magic anymore. And I think there's kind of a fine line between, because I've seen some horror movies that were just so esoteric that you were just kind of like, what the fuck is even going on? You know what I mean? Which I'm kind of more down with that, but you can err too much on the side of not revealing enough. I kind of feel like there's just a fine line that you have to walk where you have to reveal just enough for people to be able to figure shit out on their own or come up with their own theories, but you can't reveal too much or it's not scary anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of a hard kind of balance to strike, I guess.
Now, Phantom asks, how is it even possible for xenomorph genes to be spliced with human DNA? Wouldn't the blood just melt on the human?
No. In the script that I read, and you can find it online, Jenna knows I was obsessed with that movie for how long? About fucking 2 years?
A very long time. He talked about it all
trying to figure out what the fuck had happened in that movie.
Time.
And then when you saw the deleted scenes, it added more to it. When the engineers ran out of the deacon's blood, they were millions. It took millions of years for them to run out of that blood. They were seeding other planets, and every time something was grown there, it wasn't quite what they wanted, and they'd annihilate it because they would call it an abomination. They ran out of that blood, but they had learned some technology, and they tried to synthesize a copy of that blood, and that was the black goo that you see in that movie. It's kind of like that blood, but it evidently wasn't quite really what came from it. You know, one of the things that came from it were those xenomorphs. Okay, so it's a biomechanoid. It's a living machine man. You know, they're using the creation of technology as a synthetic technology, kind of like a really highly evolved version of an android. Well, humans, as we know them, like us, came from the DNA of engineers. And in an indirect way, so did the fucking aliens, the xenomorphs. They were also based on engineered DNA, but a synthetic version of it. They could crossbreed. So there wasn't any difference really between a human and a xenomorph at a certain genetic level. They could crossbreed. They were the same species, kind of. It's just that the xenomorph was a synthetic version of it. In other words, it was made out of plastic and fucking had metal in it, had metal teeth. It had fucking its blood was fucking acids and stuff, but in some way it could fucking crossbreed with a human. It could also crossbreed with other things, other creatures. You know, like in one of the movies, it came out of a bull or a dog, depending on which version of the movie you see. In Alien 3. And that's because all life on this planet is related. And it all came from that original source that the engineers put there.
Unless you're a creationist.
Unless you're a creationist, and then they're all separate creatures,
they're
right?
all separate kinds. We did a whole show about that.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. That just makes me mad.
But in the original story, the xenomorphs were not really a good thing. They were a weapon. The engineers used them to destroy stuff. But they also used black goo to do that. But it seems kind of muddied. Like they had a couple different stories they were working on and changed over time.
I kind of feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, because usually by the time you see something on the screen, it has gone through many, many, many iterations and many, many, many hands that stuck their fingers in and said, hey, let's do this, or hey, let's do that, or that's a stupid idea, throw that out. It's just kind of like, you know, it's just like a cobbled together.
There's a scene.
Honestly, I'm honestly surprised that good movies ever happen because of the committee nature of the whole process.
There's a scene in Prometheus where the engineer, after he kills Wayland and the mercenaries, runs back to a human ship, the Earth ship, and fucking what's her name is fucking hiding in that ship, and the engineer sees a video screen, a large video screen of a little girl with long hair playing violin out on a fucking with I think an ocean behind her or something, and he's standing there mesmerized by this, and I was like, this is significant. This is before I knew all the little details. What the fuck? And it dawned on me, she's female. They didn't have females, so he's seeing that in this image that he's seeing from Earth that they had succeeded in their mission to create gender. Or to recreate it, because they gave up gender in exchange for immortality. Because I guess they were on a place like, well, if we're going to live forever, we can't reproduce, so we'll overcrowd the planet. You know? So, but eventually they were like, yeah, but we're all dying one by one anyway, and now we're interstellar, so the problem isn't there anymore, you know? You can be immortal and be reproductive if you're interstellar.
Camp Guy says, when I was talking about not showing your shit in horror movies, he said, my favorite type of magic is the sleight of hand card or coin or rope trick. It takes much more skill than the big stage show gimmicks. Yeah, if you have to do, because honestly, like, even a long time ago, I was at some work, you know, function or something like that, and they had hired a magician, and he was one of those, like, table-side magicians. So he would come to your table and do all of these sleight of hand tricks, like, in front of your face, and you still couldn't, like, figure out how he did it, because he was that good at it. And it's just kind of like, to me, that I feel like that takes, like, a lot more skill to fool people. I mean, obviously you know that he's fooling you, but you can't see how he does it. Yeah. And that takes a lot of skill to do something right in close quarters, like right in front of someone's face. Like if you just do David Copperfield shit, like you're on TV and you're in a, you know, on a stage or whatever, and you can do these big, elaborate magic tricks and stuff like that. Like, that's cool too, but there is something to be said for somebody that can just do shit right in your face and you can't figure out how they did it. You know what I mean? That takes a lot more skill to me. Let me see. Oh, SideQuest Hero says, well, the best movies are usually written and directed by the same person who also has some sort of oversight keeping their creativity in check. Yeah, honestly, I mean, and this isn't true across the board, but I do kind of feel like it's more...
You got to be a creation of a person.
Yeah, it's more likely that, like, a movie that's going to be great is usually, like, one person. Brainchild, it's kind of their vision.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that a movie, you know, a novel is a different thing. That's usually, like, one person's vision, and that's cool. But it's just kind of like when you make a movie, I mean, by necessity, there's, like, a lot of people involved. But usually it's one person's vision or just a handful of people instead of just a bunch of people throwing in their stupid ideas, you know?
Yeah, the problem with Prometheus... and Alien Covenant. I haven't seen the one that came after that. Alien Romulus, I think was the last. I haven't seen Romulus. But the problem with them is that Scott wanted an all-new fucking story, okay, about these engineers. But the studio said, no, we want an alien movie. We want the alien in it.
Because they thought they would sell better.
Yeah, and which that fucks it all up. It's not about that xenomorph. It's about who made those xenomorphs and what they were doing.
Well, and it's kind of the lifelong struggle, because I've been in a creative profession most of my working life. It's the constant struggle between people who are just trying to make money and think they know what makes money.
Yeah.
And people who, like, actually know how to do creative things.
Yeah.
Because usually those people are not the same people. Like, it's a completely different skill set.
Had they let Scott just tell the story, that would have been a hit. Now, yeah, you would have had a lot of Alien fans, boys. Well, where the fuck's the xenomorph? When are they going to tell us about that? Well, they might eventually get around, but that's not what the story was about, you know. But they kept shoehorning that damn xenomorph in every one of those fucking Prometheus movies. But it wasn't quite the same xenomorph. It was a different one, because they could be created in different ways. In Alien Covenant, fucking... David the android fucking makes a xenomorph, basically. It's a little bit different, but he figured out how to make one out of the body of Elizabeth Shaw and the black goo that he got from the fucking engineers. Even though he wasn't on... People say he was on the engineer planet. He was not on the engineer planet. He was on another one of the planets that the engineers had tried to create life on. But, you know, dude wiped it out. Fucking David hated humans. Because, you know, he was better than a human. He was more intelligent and fucking couldn't die. He was superior to a human, but they treated him like an inferior. So he hated humans. He wiped out anything humans, anything engineered. Really. Right, yeah. Right.
Victor says, doesn't M. Night Shyamalan fund his own movies so he can just do whatever he wants? Then he says, Trap was really bad, but at least we got to see Josh Hartnett shirtless. Now, here's the thing. I remember seeing the trailers for Trap at the theater, and now I guess I think it's on Max, because I keep seeing trailers for it. I wasn't really interested in seeing it. It's like, honestly, like, he made maybe 2 or 3 good movies, and then because those 2 or 3 movies were so good and so iconic, like, they just kept letting him do stuff.
M. Night Shyamalan had good movies.
Yeah, I didn't say he didn't.
Yeah, I'm saying, but really his best ones was his superhero movies.
Well, Sixth Sense was his best one.
Yeah.
That was his first one.
I think Sixth Sense was a superhero movie, though. I think that was the same universe.
Kind of.
Because he could talking to the dead and being able to see dead people, that's a superpower. Hell yeah.
Oh,
That'd be
Victor,
like something Mephisto would do or some shit.
Victor says, oh my god, Trap is so bad, though. Like, his worst movie by far. Yeah, see, I didn't even bother with... And look, I'm willing to even... Because we even reviewed The Village. I saw The Village in the theater when it came out. I didn't love it when I saw it. And I was just kind of like, well, I'll watch it again and get it. It's still kind of... I don't know. There's something about his films that just kind of... The Sixth Sense was good. Unbreakable was good. Like, Signs was pretty good. I'm not really roll into alien movies, but okay.
Victor says we should see it just to see how bad it is. He said we will marvel over how bad it is.
Oh, now you've got me intrigued.
Yeah.
Because honestly, they're pushing the shit out of this movie on Max. Because I was watching some true crime shit on Max. And every single time that a commercial came on, it was for that movie. Because they just got it and they're super excited about it, I guess. And I never did see... Because didn't he make one called Old? About the people that washed up on the island and then they all started aging rapidly?
I don't remember that one.
I didn't see that one either. But it's just kind of like after... I don't know, man. Like, after I saw The Village, which was years and years ago. And I was kind of like, okay. I didn't love that, but I was like, it was okay. And I remember, like, when we rewatched it recently, I'm like, that was a little bit better than I remember. Because I saw it in the theater when it came out. Victor gave us another super chat for the upcoming Trap review.
Okay. All right. It's on Max?
Yeah, it is.
We'll see it.
I mean, but this weekend, like I said, I want to see Heretic.
We
can do Trap after that.
We can Trap later.
Because I was kind of... I mean, I'm not that curious because it didn't really look that interesting, like the premise.
I didn't like Signs. There's a lot of his movies I didn't like.
Like, a lot of people like Signs, but it's like, I'm not a big fan of, like, alien movies. It's like, it's okay. That movie's pretty good. But I
really liked Glass, Split, Unbreakable.
Yeah, those ones were good.
I liked those. Yeah,
he
should have kept going. He should have kept going with that shit because he knew how to tell those kind of stories.
But like shit, like man, like Lady in the Water, like all these, like what the fuck? I don't understand. Like he can make a good movie, but he's a little too self-indulgent. Like I think he's a little too up his own ass. You know what I mean? I don't know the dude, but he seems like he's a little too up his own ass. Which that's kind of a shame. Burley says Trap is just a commercial for his daughter's music.
Is it?
Okay, now I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, now I want to see it. Sometimes shit can be so bad that you can fucking...
I mean, now I'm kind of... Is it so bad that we're going to have a good time with it? Yeah. Should we have, like, some drinks and stuff and just make a night of it? Have some drinks and put some snacks in and shit like that?
Sometimes you see something that's bad and it's almost a masterpiece. So, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Well, that's... And look, hey, I'm like a big advocate of, like, if you make a bad movie, just make it real bad.
Yeah.
So at least we can get some enjoyment out of it.
Here's the problem. Most really bad movies, a truly bad movie, is just boring.
That's what I mean.
Go look at a Steven Seagal movie.
That's what I mean. A bad movie to me is just boring.
Yeah, boring.
Like, if it's so bad that it's just, like, ridiculous, then I'm all about that. Yeah. I'm all about it.
You better lean into that shit.
Lean into it.
And show some fucking crazy shit.
Just make it as stupid as fucking possible.
Like Velocipaster. That's a fucking shitty movie that's awesome.
Like I said, that is a shitty movie that goes all the way around and becomes a masterpiece.
Yeah. Velocipaster is fucking great. It knows what it is.
It knew exactly what it was. Yeah. And yet, it still didn't pander in the sense that it wasn't like, look how bad I am, haha.
No.
It was super genuine.
It was earnest about it. Kinda.
That's what made it good.
Yeah.
It was earnest.
Yeah. And the thing is, it was giving shout-outs and callbacks to fucking 80s fucking culture, kung fu culture, Everything fucking.
I love Velocipaster. I love
Velocipaster is one of the best
so
B movies of all times.
It was just so good.
And it knows it's a B movie, and it's just going to say it's just there to entertain you.
But like I said, it's not winking at you. Because like I said, there's kind of a thing. I kind of feel like there was a whole thing, especially like after MST got like a little bit mainstreamed, where everybody's like, we're just going to make bad movies on purpose.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are not entertaining because they made them bad on purpose, and they're like winking at you. Look how shitty this is. Yeah. And it's just like, that's not fun. The bad movies that are fun are people that thought they were making good movies, except they were horrible.
Yeah, but Velocipaster isn't like that.
It's not, but
Velocipaster knew that this was a fucking budget movie, but they're gonna fucking entertain you anyway, and you're gonna fucking love it. And that's this, and it was funny. It was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
So it was
but
good.
like I said, it was almost like, I think they struck the perfect balance.
Yeah.
Where they were like, we know we're making a bad movie, but it's also like really earnest and genuine.
Yeah.
And I think they struck a good balance.
Another good one was that French movie, kind of like in that same genre, was that French movie that was a post-apocalyptic superhero movie. Remember that? And it was all
Turbo
80s.
Kid?
Turbo Kid.
I don't think that was French. I thought that was New Zealand.
No, I thought it was a French director, and writer.
I don't know.
I don't know. Might be even New Zealand. But that was a great movie. Turbo Kid's very good.
Yeah, I love Turbo Kid.
It's like, what if there was a superhero in Mad Max times?
Yeah.
Yeah, what would that be like? It's like cool.
It can be done, like making a bad movie on purpose.
Yeah.
But it's harder than you might imagine.
It's straight out of fucking Fallout. It was definitely influenced by Fallout.
I mean, the reason people still like Ed Wood movies is because he thought he was making good movies.
Yeah.
But he was completely incompetent. Yeah. And that ridiculousness and that earnestness is what makes it funny.
Yeah.
If you're trying to make it funny on purpose, like to be ironic or whatever, it's not funny. It's, like I said, it's a very fine line to walk. Full Metal Nosferatu says Death Spa is probably one of the most batshit insane movies I've ever seen, and they play it 110% serious. Yeah, I kind of remember seeing that back in the day. Like I said, it's a lot funnier if they think they're making a good movie and are being like super earnest about it and are failing.
Just like Birdemic.
That's why Birdemic is so entertaining. Yeah. Because it's like that dude that made that movie.
Yeah.
Because he's made other movies too, and I've seen his other movies, and they were just as
Gwen,
crazy.
Nugan.
Nguyen. He's
Nguyen, I guess is how you pronounce that. James Nguyen. Yeah. He seems like a lovely person. Like, he seems like a nice dude and everything. But I think he might be not from this planet.
No.
He definitely doesn't know how white people date.
Well, he doesn't know how anything works.
Yeah.
And that's what makes all his movies so delightful, is that all of the people in his movies do just baffling things. Yeah. They're just completely baffling.
Yeah.
And it's just, and you're just like
He's from
watching
the Philippines. He's from the Philippines.
Yeah, and it's like, that's on Earth.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, those people are just regular people. They do regular shit like we do. And it's like, so it's mind-boggling, like how he makes these movies. These people just do this weird-ass shit.
In his mind, the way white people date and meet each other is that you stalk a woman, talk your way into her house, and you get her to sit on your lap. Every time she's a chick, it's always some white girl sitting fucking cross-legged, fucking Indian style, on some, they're always straddling each other. I guess he saw that. He thought that was hot as fuck. It's in every one of his fucking movies.
He might have a fetish about that. Like Quentin Tarantino has a foot fetish.
Fucking,
and he puts feet in every single movie.
Yeah, fucking... Yeah.
So maybe that dude has a weird fetish about people sitting cross-legged on other people.
Or not cross-legged, what do you call it? Straddling each other.
Like straddling another person.
Sitting there,
but they're fully dressed. They're not naked.
Just straddling him. And fucking... That's like some shit teenagers would do back in the 70s.
Like rubbing?
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to get in trouble because we still have our clothes on.
Yeah.
So.
Be sitting on a fucking curb in front of a fucking house and shit. Fucking sitting on a curb, your girlfriend fucking straddling you like that, and you're fucking, drinking fucking...
it's that kind of shit.
Sucking on bomb pops and shit from the fucking...
It's that kind of shit.
Sucking on bomb pops from the fucking ice cream fucking truck and shit.
Totally bizarre.
Yeah.
But I love that kind of shit. And see, Kalen Higgins is talking about the same thing. Like Tommy Wiseau, the dude that made The Room, his movies are my favorite bad movies, and going to his events are great because people are unironically love him and are genuine fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his movies also, he's kind of like another dude like James Nguyen, where you kind of feel like maybe they're from outer space because it's like every single thing that their people do in the movies is just baffling. Like, you have no idea. Like, nobody in real life like acts like that.
Well, who's the other dude who always makes a movie about himself? He's always a god or an alien from another planet.
What's his name? Neil Breen.
Neil Breen. That's right. Neil Breen. Neil Breen movies. The whole Neil Breen collection.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. If you haven't heard of that dude.
Neil Breen is a very average dude, okay? Fucking very average, skinny kind of dude. And his movies are about him with godlike powers hooking up with hotties in their 20s.
Always.
And then and he's here to save the planet Earth because of his fucking special knowledge.
I mean,
it's that same theme over and over.
We can psychoanalyze him from afar.
Yeah, each one of them is a fucking each one of them is about him and his super ego. his alter ego. It's fucking bizarre, man. And the thing is that he has a fan base that come and see him and fucking clap at his movies, and he takes his shit very seriously.
He does, yeah.
And everybody else knows that this dude's just like, fucking dude, you're...
I mean, clearly.
Breen. Yeah,
it's like, hey, I'm going to make some movies where I am Jesus.
Yeah.
And
Space
get to bang
Jesus.
women young enough to be my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, they love him and shit.
Yeah, and I'm just going to save the world and stuff.
Yeah.
And then people, like, laugh at his movies or come to see his movies, and you just think, see? That just validates.
Yeah.
And I don't understand people that are that unself-aware.
I think he kind of knows that people are kind of...
Does he?
I think
no,
a little bit.
I never got that.
But the thing is, the people that come see him actually do like those movies. They like his movies.
They are very entertaining.
You know.
Not for the reasons that he thinks they are, but they are very entertaining.
But they're always kind of like this altruistic, earthy style fucking savior themes. Almost kind of new agey. Everything kind of had like a new agey tone to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of California new age cult kind of feel to it. Yeah, weird dude.
But yeah. If you watch, there's a channel on YouTube called Shitcase Cinema, which is this British dude.
Yeah.
He's an author actually, and he doesn't post that much, but every now and then he does. But he's done a lot of Neil Breen movies. He's done a lot of Steven Seagal movies too. But he's like funny as shit. He's like this British dude that just comes on, and it's like a totally low rent show. It's like pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I wouldn't put Napoleon Dynamite in the same thing because that's on purpose.
Yeah,
those movies were fucking super well written, and that movie knows what it is, and it is exactly what it is. That's very sophisticated writing to do that.
It is, yeah.
So,
like I said, it's
not
difficult.
quite the same thing.
Yeah. It's difficult to make a bad movie on purpose. I mean, okay, let me scratch that. It's not difficult to make a bad movie on purpose. A lot of people do it every day. I'm just saying it's difficult to make a bad movie on purpose,
but then make it good.
Entertaining.
That's good, right? Yeah.
It's difficult to make a so bad it's good movie.
Yeah.
Because honestly, a lot of the so bad it's good movies were not meant to be so bad it's good. They were meant to be good movies, and they just went horribly awry.
And then there's another example. It's what Steven Seagal does. There's a movie that's so bad that it's boring.
Yeah.
So then there's not even anything good to riff on. You know. So
yeah.
There's a lot of those.
Well, like I said, I mean, me being a big fan of like MST, and they were trying to kind of find that sweet spot too, because their whole thing of the show was we're looking for a movie that's bad, but that's bad in a particular way. They needed something that they could work with. If they had a movie that was bad, but that was so bad that it was just fucking dull and just like put you to sleep, I mean, there's not really much to work with. There's no material. She keeps saying that
Napoleon Dynamite's the same character. It's not, because Napoleon Dynamite is a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I would argue that's not even... That's just a good movie.
That was a good movie. It was written to have that tone.
Yeah.
That you're saying, that awkward tone. It's supposed to have that.
Yeah, that's a whole subgenre of like cringe comedy.
There's a horror version of that we saw that was pretty good too. It was like Napoleon Dynamite was a slasher. Remember that? Dude was banging his son's girlfriend and shit. Fucking remember?
Oh, the Greasy Strangler.
The Greasy Strangler, yeah.
The Greasy Strangler.
It's that same tone.
Yeah, they were going for the same shit. Yeah. And that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, they were trying to make it... Because I think that's a different thing.
Yeah, that didn't happen by accident.
There's a whole subgenre that's like cringe comedy or cringe horror, cringe black comedy, and they're just doing it to make you as uncomfortable as possible. And that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Like I said, I kind of feel like
and it's hard to do.
And that's hard to do on purpose.
Right, yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I feel like So Bad It's Good movies are usually, not always,
spontaneous.
It's spontaneous. They're meaning to make a good movie, and then it just something goes
else.
Horribly sideways.
Yeah, okay, look at Manos Hands of Fate. The guy who
thought he was making
a great movie. It's a great movie because it's a piece of fucking shit. But
it's terrible.
When you watch it, you're like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Is happening?
You can make a mockery. You can make a mockery out of the movie, but that's not what he intended. It was an accident.
Yeah,
it was an accident. Yeah.
It was a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say.
Yeah,
honestly,
accident.
one of my favorite lines from MST, and this was like the old days when Joel was still on there, when they did Manos Hands of Fate. Joel just go and he's like indignant. He's like, every frame of this movie looks like someone's last known photograph.
Yeah. If you've never seen Manos Hands of Fate,
my God.
see a Riff-Trax version of fucking Manos Hands of Fate. It's even funnier.
I mean,
when they're riffing on it. Yeah. And the dude who made it, there's no audio in the camera. The audio was added afterwards.
So everything's dubbed over.
And the camera doesn't have much film in it. I think
you can only film like 30 seconds.
At a time. So everything is fucking done in real short.
And there's no sync sound.
Yeah, no sync.
So it's like a lot of times
dubbed.
He'll film people.
Yeah.
Sitting there staring at the camera.
Yeah.
And then they'll talk, but they'll be off camera.
Yeah. Like whoever's talking is off camera.
Yeah.
You only see who's listening.
Right.
And it's because I think they're just making shit up as they go. And they can't get the lip syncing correct.
I will admit though that it's a good story. It's a good idea.
It's a good idea, yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think something could be done with that. Like that could actually be really scary
if you did it right.
Yeah.
The dude that made it was a fertilizer salesman
from Texas.
He
was not a movie maker.
None of it.
Which will become very clear if you see that movie.
Yeah, go see Manos Hands of Fate. Manos means hands. In Spanish, hands of fate.
Hands of fate.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hands of fate. And it's about a satanic cult.
Kind
of satanic.
I mean, there's so much lore about that movie. And honestly, it's funny because I think MST saved that movie from obscurity. I don't think anybody would know about that movie if MST hadn't done it. Because that was like one of their most iconic like early episodes. Because people were like, holy shit. This movie actually exists. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like now I kind of feel like people take it for granted that there's all these, because now anybody can make a movie, right, with their phone or whatever. But like back in the old days, you really kind of had to, the technology was not readily available. So it's like if you really wanted to make a movie, like you had to rent all the shit and you had to spend all this your own money and all this other kind of stuff. So it's like, but you came up with like some really interesting people that had no idea what they were doing, like this dude, and to me that's like kind of fascinating. It's a fascinating film just for that reason alone, because the dude obviously did not know anything about making movies.
No, didn't matter though.
But it's a great idea. It was a great idea. I will give that. It's a great idea, but he couldn't execute it, obviously.
I don't know about you, Jim, but I'm getting hungry.
You getting hungry? All right.
Yeah. Want to go get something to eat?
Are you want to go down to Circle K?
Yeah, let's go down to Circle K and get something to eat.
Victor says Manos Hands of Fate has a 0% critic score and 20% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I will note that I would not want to watch it without riffing.
Commentary.
Like the MST episode is a classic. And Riff-Trax did it a couple times. Actually, Riff-Trax did it recorded, and they did it live too. And it's
saw the live version.
And they did like different jokes.
Yeah.
But we saw the live version. It was, oh my God.
In the theater, we saw it
my
live.
face hurt from laughing so hard.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious.
But
they're riffing on that movie through the whole thing.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I wouldn't want to watch it without that. That said, that is not by far the worst movie that I saw on MST. The worst movie that I saw on MST, I think, well, I'm going to say like some of the Coleman Francis movies, because people talk about Ed Wood and all this other kind of stuff, but Coleman Francis made a couple of movies, 3 movies actually, The Skydivers, Red Zone Cuba, and what was the other one? The one with fucking Tor Johnson in it.
Tor Johnson.
Yeah, Tor Johnson was in it. I'll remember it in a minute. But yeah, so he made those, and they were just like fucking watching paint dry. Yeah. But the thing about them is like there was enough in there that you could work with, because some of the shit was, like I said, was just so baffling. Like some of the conversations that some of the characters had, I'm just like, okay, what the fuck? What did an alien write this? I don't know. But it's just like a lot of it was kind of boring. But honestly, I think the worst movie that I saw in MST was, strangely, The Castle of Fu Manchu, which actually had Christopher Lee in it.
I don't remember that one, yeah.
Wow. What a fucking...
I
still can't, like, the episode nowadays, it's like, I try to sit through it, and I can't. And I can watch bad movies all day long. But that one, it's like, it's simultaneously boring and baffling. Like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, and I just can't be bothered.
Another bad one that is fun to watch is Giant Spider Invasion.
Beast of Yucca Flats. Thank you very much.
Beast of Yucca Flats.
That's what the other one was, with Tor Johnson.
Beast of Yucca Flats, yeah.
Yeah.
But Giant Spider Invasion.
That's a
pretty good movie.
That movie,
terrible.
Okay. That was made in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it was made in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And the giant spider was very clearly a Volkswagen Beetle with some carpet stapled on it.
My dad took me to see it when I was a kid. I screamed through the whole fucking thing.
And it's like, and the dudes in it are like super rednecky, and it's like, oh my god, like that is probably
Wisconsin rednecks.
That is easily one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
I rewatched that MST episode like lots of times, just because anytime an episode is, because the guys from MST are mostly from the Midwest. They're mostly from Minnesota. A couple of them are from New York, like one of them is from Brooklyn and one's from Chicago, but a lot of them are mostly from Minnesota. But holy crap, they lay into the fucking redneck shit in that movie, and it is fucking hilarious. Yeah. Honestly, like, I like their 50s shit too, because they do a lot of 50s movies, but honestly, I think my favorite thing is when they riff 70s and 80s movies. Mm. Like, especially like when they did, what was the other one that they did? Riding with Death, which was actually a 70s pilot that showed the Gemini Man. Do you remember that? Where the dude could like disappear and shit? Like he was, So, so that was fucking, it was like a whole trucker thing. There was a whole trucker aspect to it. And that episode was great too. But like anytime that they can riff on like 70s and 80s shit, I'm like all about it. Like that, Riding with Death, like Hobgoblins, like that fucking horrible like shit from 88 or 89 or whatever that was. Like that was a ripoff of Gremlins. Oh my god, so fucking funny. So fucking funny. All right, so Tom's tapping my
let's get out of here. I gotta get something to eat before. I don't want Circle K to close. Not Circle K. Subway.
I think they're open till midnight.
I think it was till 11.
Okay, I don't know. Well, even so, like they have other sandwiches that I can get. All right. All right. So Tom wants to go down to Circle K.
Get something to eat, man.
And get some sandwiches.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's just right down the street. Yeah. We're all right. All right. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us this evening. Thank you for all your super chats. That was very generous of you guys. Hopefully you had a good time hanging out with us this Friday night. We will be back on Monday night. We'll probably be doing Heretic because, like I said, I really want to go see it this weekend. So we'll probably be covering that on Monday. So that will probably be the movie review. And like I said, but we'll do, because I know you guys suggested some and I wrote them down. So we'll probably be doing those in the coming weeks as well, if I remember. But yeah, Heretic will probably be the Monday show. All right, so thank you, everybody. Have a good night tonight and have a good weekend. We will see you guys again on Monday night. Good night.